Good morning, Undefeated. What's going on? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you very much for joining me on this fine Wednesday, April 24th. You saw that Reggie Bush has received back his Heisman Trophy, won that in 2005. You remember Reggie Bush. My goodness, one of the most electrifying, if not the most electrifying running back in all of college football that we've had since 2005. I mean, he was unbelievable. I mean, kind of rewind to the highlights. I remember watching Reggie Bush, not only in high school, but then in college. So today he gets his Heisman Trophy back. If you missed the story, it was taken away because of the NCAA rules at this time. As you know, the rules have changed now, and he is being awarded back his trophy by the Heisman Trust. He will be allowed to participate at the Heisman Trophy ceremony, everything else, and good for Reggie Bush. I like Reggie Bush, honestly. Never had a problem with him. Good morning to you, Jeff, coming to us from Pell City. Good morning to us, Andy, Janet, what's going on? Chase, what's going on? I appreciate you guys inside the comment box. Give me a thumbs up. Just inside the comment box if you are a fan of Reggie Bush. I know he plays at USC, but I mean, I don't know. I felt like Reggie Bush was kind of like part of the college football family, and like what he did on the field was impressive. So Reggie Bush getting his Heisman Trophy back. I appreciate you guys. What's up, JS Webb's Productions, man? Thanks for being here this morning right here on Bama Football on YouTube. All right, I wanted to talk about a couple topics today on the show. We got the CBS football released their way too early college football rankings. Going to run through those, and I want to get your take on that. Call line is, of course, open 205-850-1994. Winners in the transfer portal thus far. I know the transfer portal is open for a little bit more, a couple more days rather. And I think Alabama so far is the winner in the transfer portal. Not only in this first stage, but you think about the players that Coach Kalen DeBoer brought over. It's a pretty good unit from the transfer portal perspective for Alabama. So the college football playoff rankings, college football way too early rankings put out by CBS. That was just recently. What's going on, LaQuaisha? I see you inside the comment box. And I want to get your take on this. So Undefeated, good morning to you. I appreciate you being here. Can you list your 1 through 5, your college football 1 through 5? That's all I'm asking you. And then I'm going to read through CBS's way too early college football rankings. Okay, I know. It's April 24th. You got the NFL draft, which starts, I believe, tomorrow. We're going to talk about that as well. But just right now, off the basis of what you know, and here are the rankings from CBS football. They have Ohio State coming back. And you know that Ohio State has went all in the transfer portal as well. I think they're kind of just trying to buy that football team. You look at the prospects they have added. Ryan Day trying to, win a national championship. And, I think with Michigan beating them last year, like all eyes are on him, especially if you're an Ohio State fan. You're like, win. You got to win the big one. What's up, DW? I see you inside the comment box. So CBS has Ohio State. Number 2, they have Georgia. Number 3, they have Texas. Number 4, they have Oregon. And number 5, they have Alabama. And number 6, they have Ole Miss. And then number 7, the returning champs in Michigan under a new head football coach. So I think when you start at the top, you look to Ohio State, and then you have Georgia. And I think with Georgia, I mean, my goodness, this program is, they're here. And what they've been able to do under Kirby Smart has been really impressive. Returning their quarterback is going to make them ultra dangerous, right? And I see you guys listing your top 5 inside the comment box. And I think when you have Georgia, and I was also looking at this, Missouri is also on the schedule as well. So Alabama this season plays Georgia. They play Missouri. It's a loaded schedule for the Alabama Crimson Tide. We'll talk about their schedule another time as well. Georgia, rightfully so. If anything, I kind of feel that Georgia should be the number 1 team and kind of in this preseason. Put the target on their back. Thank you. See, B-Wood, I like this. I honestly like this setup right here. Okay, this is probably, I would probably put Texas number 2, but Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Bama, then Oregon. I really like this. I would probably switch this up. I'd go Georgia, then Texas, then Ohio State, Bama, then Oregon. I really like the quarterback who's transferred. I don't really understand why. Well, maybe I do. Maybe he wants to play for Dan Lanning, but Dylan Gabriel, I thought is a baller, and I thought he has some really good setup with Oklahoma and what they have returning. Thanks, B. Wood. I appreciate it. So I don't know. I think Georgia, with everything that they have coming back, they should be number 1. Yeah, Dixon, I see you inside the comment box saying, congratulations to Reggie Bush. I talked about that just a few seconds ago. It's amazing, it's taken that long for him to get back the trophy, but rightfully he deserves it. And I was asking you at the beginning of the show, like, he was the most dangerous running back in college football. It was crazy what he would do. I was kind of rewinding. I know it was against Fresno State, but like some of the plays that he had in that game were like crazy. You look at the games he had against like Notre Dame, it was unbelievable. And that translated a little bit to the NFL. But one of my favorite college football players of all time, certainly Reggie Bush. I like Reggie Bush too. I know he's kind of gone into, sports broadcasting. I think he's good. I like Reggie Bush. Happy for him. Happy to see it. But I think when you talk way too early college football rankings, Georgia's got to be there. And I love it. Kind of put the pressure on them. And what Alabama, outside of that, what do they have going into that game against the SEC championship? They had won, 29 games in a row? They lose to Coach Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide, but he's got he's got a lot of components coming back. And I'm assuming that they're undefeated coming into that week 4 matchup against Alabama. I'm assuming that Alabama's undefeated going into that matchup as well. I'm assuming that that is the college football game day selection. I'm assuming that Coach Saban picks the Alabama Crimson Tide when he's an analyst for that game, right? I did see that too. Jaden Rashada was visiting Georgia, right? Yeah, I saw that. That's interesting. The Arizona State quarterback, CBS had them listed as a loser in the transfer portal, and you're talking about Arizona State. And the interesting thing as well is that Ed Woods is a transfer portal target for the Alabama Crimson Tide. He is a defensive back from Arizona State. They also listed the transfer portal losers as Colorado, and every single time you get an alert, with this transfer portal, it's like a guy from Colorado is leaving, and another guy is coming in. I don't think that you can sustain. What's up, Cat Pool? Morning, man. What's up? Appreciate you. I love that dog, Schnauzer. Been a member right here for 3 months, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you being here. I don't think that you can build a team out of the college football transfer portal. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. I think you can fix, areas on your team, but I don't think you can build a whole team from the transfer portal. A quality team. You lack cohesiveness, right? You lack that team mantra. It takes a while to build that. I love the fact that you really haven't had any players from Alabama hit the transfer portal. I know yesterday you had Curtis Perry, and best of luck to him. But other than that, there hasn't been any shockers leaving. And I think the reason is they've bought into Coach Kalen DeBoer. They've bought into the team. They've bought into what they have coming back. Help me out, Undefeated. Right now, Alabama has 2 transfer portal additions, right? And in my opinion, the biggest transfer portal additions in all of college football. Caden Proctor coming back. And people can say whatever they want about Caden Proctor. Even Alabama fans, they can be like, he wasn't that good. Yes, this guy is a future NFL first-round guy. He was a freshman last year. He played up at times, for sure. He played down at times, for sure. He was inconsistent. But who else would turn their heads at a 6'7", what is he now? Is he 350 pounds? I saw him at the Hey Coach. He looked like he was 350. He looked like he had lost some weight. I think with more development, Caden Proctor is going to be that guy. Anybody would have wanted him. Anybody in the country. For him to come back to Alabama, gigantic. Bigger than we're giving it credit for, right? And then the second addition is, let's be honest, okay? And Connor Talty, man, I have nothing against you. And I have nothing against the secondary or the special teams, but Alabama did not have a kicker. Once Will Riker left, of course, you had some kickers on the roster, but you didn't have a kicker that was ready to contribute at this level the way that they needed to. The biggest pickup in the transfer portal as of this point in time is 1,000,000% Graham Nicholson. In terms of being most impactful, Alabama didn't have a kicker. They really didn't. JS, man, appreciate you becoming a member right here. Could everybody in the Undefeated please welcome JS Webb? Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. You literally did not have a kicker. You didn't. You had Connor Talty coming back, but he has 0 experience. And you get the kicker who won the Luke Groza Award My goodness, right? That's the best kicker. There's no other bet. Like, that's the best kicker in college football. That was the guy that we were mad at because he beat out Will Reichard. Will Reichard was the all-time leading scorer in college football history, right? And you're right, Jermaine. I have been talking about a kicker for months. I knew it. If you've been following me, I've been like, look, because like let's be honest. Every other unit, we're going to talk about the defense here in a little bit, is solid, is good. You want to talk about the wide receivers? Yeah, we ranked them as a 7 yesterday. The running backs we know are elite. Quarterbacks are good, right? More than good. But like you go to the kicker, no. You have a great punter. Now what you have, and people, we do not talk about special teams enough, right? You kind of like take it for granted. Have you ever had a bad field goal kicker? You guys know that Alabama has had some bad field goal kickers or average. Average isn't going to cut it. You need a high quality kicker. This edition right here, monstrous. And you look at the other transfers that Alabama has added before this portal window, right? Big ad with getting Jeremy Bernard. Kid's obviously a baller. We saw him in A-Day. Parker Brailsford is going to compete for that center spot. I asked a poll today, who do you think is going to start at center, Parker Brailsford or James Brockemeyer? What do you guys think? Undefeated. Is that? I still think it'll be a position battle, but I am so glad to see James. That's probably one of the biggest storylines out of spring football was the fact that James Brockemeyer had this massive breakthrough. We even had an opportunity to talk to him. Other additions, you had Austin Mack come in when Julian Sain left. You had Josh Cuevas at tight end. But another big transfer portal addition was Keon Sabb. Keon Sabb, think about him. Keon Sabb being added to an area that you certainly needed. And I still feel that Alabama needs to add somebody to the secondary. But think about these three transfers in, okay? If every program is judged by the prospects that they brought in, look, Ole Miss brought in some ballers. Ohio State brought in some ballers for sure. But Alabama, I would say their top three are Caden Proctor, Graham Nicholson, and Keon Sabb. All guys who will start this year for Alabama and their defense. Appreciate you guys being here right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Please leave a comment inside the comment box, and I'll get to you on the flip side. I appreciate you guys being here at Bama Football on YouTube. All right, we go to the phone lines, and we have a 256, a 832, and a 865. I think this is Angel from Pigeon Forge will lead off. Angel, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in. Good to chat with you, man. Good morning to you. Come with it, man. What you got on your mind today?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the kicker first. And what a great pickup, because we needed somebody, because Tulty doesn't have any experience, but what a way to go when you have the best kicker and Will Reichard to leave, and to pick up the guy that beat him for the award, which is crazy. Which I get it, he wants to win a national championship, but he's gonna have to compete every day with Tulty at every position, rather. And I really think it's a great pickup, because I remember in the past we had Adam Griffith, Joseph Bolvis, Pepanastis.
Yeah.
All those guys are good, but they costed us in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Like, especially with Adam Griffith with the kick six, which is crazy. And then Bolvis with Auburn. I mean, I'm just so happy now that we have a good kicker. I just can't wait to see what he does, because, we're going to need, because it's going to be a high-scoring offense coming this year, and he's going to have to, focus every single time when we score. And I think that's crucial, because special teams is actually a good position that's, very important, because anything can happen, because, they take it for granted, but they shouldn't. It's really important. And I
think let me hit on this, Angel, real quick about the kicker, because everybody out there this past season, and every time Will Reichard really came up over the last two seasons, you had no sense of anxiety. You knew that, it was going to be a quality kick. And I get it. There was some times like you looked at the game against Tennessee. I think he missed a couple, whatever the case was, like high percentage guy who contributed to a ton of points for Alabama. There's been times where you haven't had that same confidence in your kicker. Having this Graham Nicholson guy come in now, you're good. You're straight. You're like no anxiety. There's nothing worse than having anxiety when your field goal kicker steps up. I promise you, like I follow the 49ers. Where it's, after Robbie Gould left, you're kind of like uneasy about your field goal kicker. Continue, Angel. What else you got, man?
Yeah, about Caden Proctor. I'm so glad he's decided to come back because, like you said, it's not always greener on the other side. And I'm really happy that he's going to come back, but at the same time, he's going to have to earn the trust back to his teammates and his coaches. And I get it. He's still young, but, you just got to compete, lay your head down and focus. And then for Brockermeyer and Brailford, I think it's going to be Brockermeyer. Yeah. Because, he's been on the team longer. But that's just my thoughts on that whole situation. And I really think that James Brockermeyer is going to win the job come summertime, and also when our first game is played against Western Kentucky, I believe it is. Which I'm happy it's going to be starting early this year, but I don't know. Western Kentucky is a good team, but I think we'll win that game.
Yeah, and it's interesting with the quarterback. Yeah, Angel, I'll answer on the other line. I appreciate you calling in this morning, man. Good to talk to you. Roll Tide to you.
Yeah.
256 and 832. I'll get to. I think it's Coach Darrell and Free Mike. On the other side, I think what's interesting about the game against Western Kentucky, I believe that quarterback is TJ Finley, who Alabama has already faced. Remember TJ Finley, who was at LSU? Now he's the quarterback back at Western Kentucky, which is the opener. John, what's up with a side topic is saying, is Greg Byrne going to make a change with the softball program is completely running to the ground? Look, I don't know what they'll do with the softball program, but I'll tell you this. People in Alabama, here in the state, in the great state of Alabama, in Tuscaloosa, they love softball. And if you haven't been to a softball game, go support those women. Go experience the atmosphere. It is probably, look, I get it. Now basketball has the atmosphere, and whenever they get their new arena, it's going to be amazing. And going there is electric, right? When they're on fire and the Crimson Chaos, all of it that comes with it. I'm telling you, I would say football, basketball, and then softball in terms of entertainment. Amazing. I still have not actually been to a gymnastics meet, but I heard those are pretty exciting as well. But the softball, because you're right on top of the action, it's easy to park. Really, I'm telling you. So Alabama fans want an elite softball program. Like they want to compete for a title, and it is. And you know what? And it's not like the games that I've been to. They're pretty short. You're right on the action. So yeah. I'm telling you, people love. If I had somebody to cover softball, I would, because there's a lot of interest in softball, and they have to be playing at an elite level. All right, we go back to the phone lines. Good side topic, John. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I've kind of been watching that myself. All right, at 256, I think it's Coach Darrell. Hey, Coach Darrell, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in.
Cal, glad to be with you this morning. Sitting here listening to you talk about the kicker. Maybe some of these Alabama fans have football amnesia, because for a long time the field goal kicking in Alabama was a disaster, was an apocalyptic disaster. You think about the kick six. That wasn't Allen Gripper's fault. That was Coach Saban's fault. I'm gonna call it like it is. You got an inexperienced kicker. You bring him in for the biggest kick of his life, almost 60-yard, 56-yard field goal, and the odds of him making that are virtually zero, because it's a pressure game, and of course they run it back. Under Coach Saban, for a long time, the kicking game was, I just never understood how he even got these guys on the field. Papa Nasty, he was terrible.
Yeah.
The guy that transferred from Mississippi State, that kicked in the championship game, college football championship game. He was horrible. And then who was even worse than him was Cade Foster. Man, Cade Foster was a disaster. When the game that they lost, LSU, he missed five high school kicks.
I think we lost Coach Darrell. Coach Darrell, call again, but I'll get to you again. But I think Coach Darrell's right. I mean, for a long time, but then again, there was like this period where Alabama did have elite kickers, right? Like the Tiffins. I believe with the father and the son, like they were like. Those guys were elite kickers. And then there was this dry spell under Coach Saban. I think when you look back to Coach Saban, he always had elite units, right? All the areas were buttoned up. But the kicking game was always something that was in question. That's why under Will Reichert, it was like this huge relief for Alabama football fans to have. I mean, he's definitely, in my mind, and I get it, because a lot of people have, the soft spots for the Tiffins and what they did and the points that they put up. But in my mind, Will Reichert is the best kicker ever at the University of Alabama. So fulfilling that was going to be tough for whoever, Connor Talty, whoever it was going to be. But now you have Graham Nicholson, who just won the Luke Groza Award coming in. Like that's crazy to me that the best kicker in college football is coming to Bama. You know what I was thinking about, okay? And before I get my next, I was thinking about this morning. Went on a workout this morning. Okay, is this a conspiracy? Am I tripping on this? Like, help me, okay? Listen up. Do you think this is true, or do you think this is too far-fetched? Do you think that because, Coach Saban clearly has, he's a multimillionaire, millions and millions of dollars, right? He couldn't contribute back to, like the Yay Alabama, the NIL space, because he was the head football coach. And the university cannot pay the players yet, right? That'll come down the line. Do you think in some sort of like strategic move why college football gets their things in order, like it was perfect timing for him to retire, but also now he can contribute back to like Yay Alabama and to, kind of the pool? I'm serious. Like, have we talked about that before? Because maybe like now Alabama seems to be, right in the mix. Like, I don't think Graham Nicholson came for free. I don't think Kane Proctor came back for free. I don't think, I think Mark Sears might come back. I think Grant Nelson might come back. Like, those guys aren't coming back for free. So, if you really wanted somebody to jump in from like a heavyweight perspective to contribute back to the program, do you think as Coach Saban playing chess, why college football kind of gets its things in order? He was like, okay, what I'm going to do is take this multi-million-dollar, and think about this, taking a multi-million-dollar job with ESPN, but still can contribute back to Yale, Alabama. I was just thinking about that. Is that too big of a conspiracy? Right. Patriot Life, what's up, man? Appreciate you. You guys enjoy your hump day. Got to get back into your thing, man. I got your text too, Patriot Life. So Patriot Life is keeping me updated on Jenny Cackney, who is our stage 4. She has stage 4 cancer. She's an Alabama football fan, and we are all rooting for her. So Patriot Life is giving me bi-weekly updates as we continue to pray for Jenny Cackney, who we ran into and met during the Alabama spring game. So, she means a lot to us. All right. Okay. We go back to the phone lines, and we got Mike calling in. Free Mike. Collect call from...
Free Mike. Good morning, Kyle.
Mike, what's up, man? Appreciate you joining us. Is that too much of a conspiracy to think that Saban left? He's contributing back to Alabama. I have no way of ever finding this out, but is that too? Did I go off the rabbit hole?
Well, maybe a little. I think yes. Now, because I don't think he's allowed to, kind of like you mentioned, but indirectly he might. But I see right now Saban just enjoying his retirement. I think it came time for him to retire, and you hear about the game passed him by a little bit. I don't think the game passed him by a little bit, but I do think the way you acquire the players did pass him by a little bit. Now, let's be honest, Bama fans, we got used to having number 1 recruiting classes. I think Nick Saban had 8 or 9 number 1 recruiting classes. We just got used to having and got spoiled a little bit on just having the best players coming in. And I think where Alabama lost its edge a little bit is in the what neutralized college football some is the recruiting portal and recruiting, just limitations or something like that. But I think that's what happened. I don't think the game passed Nick Saban by. I think it changed a little bit, and he just found time to retire. That's what But Kyle, here's what I see playing out in the future. You probably heard about this. Like I think it was where Federal Express, FedEx, donated all these millions of dollars to the Memphis football team because Federal Express they're in Memphis. Their headquarters are in Memphis. Heck, they occupy half the airport there.
Yeah.
That's what I see playing out more. I see major organizations taking these teams and investing in these teams. That's what I playing out more. Like Yellowwood has been doing with Auburn for the past 30 years, financing their program illegally, it might be, but that's what they've been doing. But that's what I see playing out more. These major companies taking, investing in these teams, and then we're going to have, instead of the USC Trojans, we're going to have the United Airlines Trojans. That's kind of where I see that playing out more and more so. But Kyle, one more thing before I let you go. We got to get I'm glad to get the offensive tackle back, the offensive left tackle, Caden Proctor back. Yeah. Our offensive line last year, they gave up more than 50 sacks, man. Jalen Milroe was sacked 44 times. That's why I get Jalen Milroe. And when he got blocking, he absolutely excelled. So I'm happy to get Caden Proctor back. But if our offensive line and I think it's going to be Brockenmeyer's our center just because he's got experience. He's with the team, so I think it's going to be Brockenmeyer. But if our offensive line gets some consistency, just like an article I read online yesterday said, we have a chance to be in the best offense in the country if we can get some offensive line consistency. But I'm happy to get Caden Proctor back, and I'll say welcome back, young man. Welcome back. God bless you. Roll Tide. All right, Kyle. Take care, man. I got to get back. Me and Big Squeak, you got to get ready for lunch over here. You take care, brother, man. God bless. Roll Tide.
All right, man. Take it easy. That's Mike calling in from Austin. What's up, Jackie White? I see you inside the comment box. Jim Parker, what's up, man? I see you. Oh, man, I love that. The link T-shirt. Kyle, how average was Adam Griffin may have been? That onside kick against Clemson was a beauty. It also helped to win the game. Hey, for sure. Yeah. Those are some of the first kickers that, because, you guys know when I got here. So I remember Adam Griffin. I remember Griffiths. I remember Andy Papanastis. Who else was before Will Reichert? Am I coming to Foley for no, but you guys keep me posted. So if you guys have like photos or videos or something like that, yeah, send them in. Appreciate it. You guys enjoy it. I know that Coach, along with Nate Oates, Jalen Milroe, Ryan Williams, everybody is headed down to LA. Oh, Joseph Bolivas. Thank you, Adam. No, J.K. Scott was a punter. But yeah, you're right. I think Cade Foster was before me, David. But yeah, that Joseph Bolivas, yeah, I appreciate it. But wasn't Tiffin, Dylan, what's up, man? See you. But Tiffin was amazing, right? Him and his father, right? I think we got Coach Darryl back. Hey, Jackie or anybody else, I'm going this Saturday. I am going to Oxford, Alabama, Anniston, like / Anniston, to play at Cedar Ridge golf course in a tournament. Is that who has played? I heard that this golf course is very challenging. It's a tournament. It'll be the first tournament that I played in since I played in that last tournament at Waverly, Old Colony. Old Colony's right here. Hey, you know where else I played? Here in Levi. That's what's up, man. Appreciate it. You know where else I played here in Tuscaloosa? They just opened it up. Is Hidden Meadows. So Hidden Meadows is like out in the country, and they poured a bunch of money into it, and I went and played it. It's not bad. It was good. Greens are super, super slow, but it's coming along. Yeah, Oxford. I've Cedar Ridge. No way. That's what's up, Caleb. Yeah, I'll be there on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to it. I heard it's a hard course. In those type of tournaments, it's just about keeping it on the rails, right? Like, play it easy. Sometimes I hit my hybrid really, really well off the tee. So I think it might just come down to short game. Hopefully the weather is prime for that. Jared, what's up, man? One of my favorites. Fan for 3 months now, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Adam's like, I hit the ball and it goes sideways. Let's bring Coach Darrell back. He got cut off. Hey, Coach, we were talking about the field goal kickers, and then we lost you, man. You're back. What else you got, Coach Darrell? Finish out your thought, man.
Yeah, somebody brought up a thought. You just brought up a thought about Coach Saban being a donator to the Yale Alabama Fund.
Yeah.
It won't happen. And here's why. Alabama's the most legislated team in the history of college football. 2 examples. In the 60s, did you know that the center was eligible in certain formations? And Alabama used that play and ran Nebraska off the field 2 years in a row with it, and they outlawed that play. Said it was too hard to coach. And then when Bear Bryant retired, he left behind a chunk of money to the college that every player that played from him from 1958 to 1982, their children could go to college free on him. And the NCAA came in and outlawed this, said this was a slick way of recruiting and giving the Alabama an advantage, and it can't be done again.
Yeah.
So you just imagine a great philanthropist thought by Coach Bryant that every player that played from him, every player, whether you stepped on the field or not, if you were under his tutelage, your children went to college free. What a great philanthropic thought. But the NCAA stepped in and outlawed it.
Yeah.
And they would do the same thing with Coach Saban.
100%. Yeah, good point out, Coach. Yeah, make a final point, Coach Darrell, before I go bring Ty Hayes on.
My final point is simply this. If you're not listening to Kyle Henderson show in the morning on Bama football, then you need to have a lobotomy. Kyle, have a great day.
I appreciate you, Coach. Thank you so much, man. Coach Darrell calling in. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to bring on my boy Ty Hayes from Around the Table Sports. Ty, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Let's talk some college football way too early rankings. CBS has it. Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Oregon, Alabama. Here are my rankings, my way too early top 5, okay? I have Georgia number 1. I have Texas number 2. I have Ohio State number 3. Let's put Alabama number 4, and then let's put Ole Miss number 5 above Oregon.
Yeah, a little confused. We got that.
Oh, I got you. Let's take that off. Let's 2, 3. All right, we bring up my boy Ty Hayes from Around the Table Sports. I appreciate you guys watching Bama football on YouTube. We're talking early college football rankings. CBS has it like this: Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Oregon, Alabama. This is how I have the college football rankings. I have number 1, Georgia, number 2, Texas, number 3, Ohio State, number 4, Alabama. I'm going to slide Ole Miss to number 5 ahead of Oregon. How does that sound, Ty?
Yeah, I'd agree. Look, I can somewhat understand Ohio State. I'm like you, though. I have a bit more faith in Georgia getting it done than Ohio State getting it done. I think Beck is a better quarterback than what they're working with over at Ohio State. That's still a question for the Buckeyes. And then when I look at everything outside of that, Texas, they returned Quinn. That's fine. They still have some pieces on the outside, right, that I think they're very excited about. Fantastic running back room. But they've had some losses on the interior defensive line. They have some guys they're excited about. They just got Bill Norton in from the transfer portal from Arizona. Currently, Dominic Williams, TCU defensive line transfer, on a visit to the Texas Longhorns. That's a big name if they're able to lock that up. But Terrence Brooks just entered the transfer portal from Texas, which now creates a little bit of a question in terms of their secondary, though they do have some pieces that I really like, such as a Malik Muhammad. Think he's going to be really impressive his first year in the SEC. Outside of Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, I would then have Bama as well. I'm a little confused about Oregon over Bama, or even an Oregon over Ole Miss, because Oregon, they have to replace quite a bit. right?
Mhm.
Yes, they get Dylan Gabriel transferring
Mhm.
from Oklahoma to Oregon,
Yeah.
very experienced quarterback going in there, but I just have to see it. Whereas Bama returns Jalen Milroe, and I think that would put them above Oregon in my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, look, I have Georgia number one, but Adam brings up a good point. He's like, is there a reason to, why people have Georgia number one? Because I'm probably not the only person that would put Georgia at the number one spot. For me, I think the fact that they are returning a pretty good nucleus on their side. And look, Georgia's here. Like, this is that team. I mean, Kirby Smart has this program rolling. It's amazing to me that they had won up to 29 games in a row going into that game against Alabama. I think they're hungry. They have a lot coming back. They've been a little bit less, kind of in the limelight, which I think will add a little bit more fire to their program overall. What's your take on Georgia kind of after spring football?
Yeah, listen, I think they're well coached. I think they have talent. And I hear Adam's comment about they struggled, but they only lost the one game, right? And that to me is something we have to look at. Where Ohio State, I have principled questions about their quarterback situation. And we saw last year they struggled because they didn't have the answer at that position. And so until they figure that out, I still have that question about them. But I do agree their defense should be very much well improved. Another year under Knowles, and he made a really big difference there.
I mean, looking kind of at this top 10, and CBS has Missouri ranked number 8. Seems like we're kind of sleeping on, the Tigers, but I'm certainly Ole Miss. I mean, Lane Kiffin only lost 2 games last year to Kirby Smart, and the other was to Nick Saban. And look what he did in the transfer portal.
Yeah, adds in a ton of big time talent that's going to be able to walk in there day one and get things going. So Ole Miss is certainly a team that I think people are going to be watching. I think the question is what are we going to see out of Ole Miss from an entire season's perspective? They have the ability, they have the transfer portal, but this is kind of a make or break year for them. And I think because of that, they kind of are overlooked, but I agree with you, Kyle. I don't think that they should be overlooked. I think people need to take them very seriously.
And remember, both Georgia and Missouri come to Tuscaloosa this season, right? You have Georgia in that first stretch in the fourth game, and then Missouri's there. So don't. I mean, sometimes we talk about on the road against Tennessee, on the road against LSU, but also Missouri's coming in. You don't want that to be a trap game. And you're right. I like your comments earlier about Dylan Gabriel going out to Oregon. I think he's going to be a fine quarterback for Dan Lanning. I've always liked his game, to be honest. We're talking transfer portal winners as well, and I felt that when you look to just this transfer portal cycle, that Alabama, has done. They were listed again. I was reading CBS this morning as a transfer portal winner, and you look at the 2 monumental additions that they added in Caden Proctor and Graham Nicholson. And I went kind of a little bit step further to look at the transfers that Coach Kalen DeBoer has brought in since his time becoming the head football coach in Alabama, which is now over 100 days. So you have Caden Proctor, Graham Nicholson, Keon Sabb. You have Jeremy Bernard, Parker Brailsford, Austin Mack, Josh Cuevas. I don't think I missed anyone. Maybe I did. But, I mean, it's once again, Alabama's brand. And what they've done right now is they've fixed immediate needs. And Graham Nicholson is monumental in terms of adding someone with tremendous value.
Yeah, I completely agree. What Kalen DeBoer has done in the transfer portal is really, really impressive. Adding in big needs. Parker Brailsford, highest graded returning center in all of college football. And yes, he might be in a position battle right now, but that's good for Alabama, right? The fact that James Brockermeyer has continued to grow, he's continued to progress. He and Brailsford are going to be able to push each other, so that's a really big win. You look at Jeremy Bernard, and Alabama has not had a 1,000-yard receiver in far too long. And that's a guy that can come in here and walk into a room that's already very talented and add more depth into that room. And to your point, you lose Will Reichard, you replace him with the Luke Rosa Award winner. And we talked about this the other day whenever we were looking at his stats. And he is as follows. This past year in 2023, he was 27 of 28 from the field goal, 10 of 11 on 40 plus. He had a long of 52. But the thing that really stood out to me outside of all that, great stats, is that on his 73 kickoffs, 52 of them were touchbacks. And I think that versatility is something I'm very excited about.
Reggie Bush gets back his Heisman Trophy today, and all of the college football world is happy again. I remember Reggie Bush. I mean, he was part of growing up for me in college football. And that was 2005. 2005, I was living in Washington, D.C., working on Capitol Hill, enjoying everything that D.C. has to offer. And I remember watching Reggie Bush in high school, and his highlights were incredible. And then what he did at USC. And then, of course, playing, with him in the video game on NCAA football was 2006. Your thoughts on Reggie Bush getting back his Heisman Trophy, well deserved. Now he's back, kind of in the fold. But I mean, Ty, are you old enough, first of all, to remember Reggie Bush?
Oh yeah, I'm old enough to remember Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush was incredible, and there was a string of running backs that just took my love of college football to an entirely new level, and Reggie Bush was certainly in that. I've said it before. Sean Alexander, someone who as a young kid loved watching play. Reggie Bush. I mean, there's so many we could name, but I love to see him get that Heisman back. He deserves it, and one of the better players I've ever seen in my lifetime, no doubt.
Yeah, Reggie Bush for me. I mean, it was just, it was like, that was college football. I loved kind of rewinding and thinking about those highlights. I know your boy Hayes Fawcett, tweeted out some highlights of him this morning that I was able to kind of rewind, just jog my memory. I mean, he just had so much He was just the exact game breaker that you had for college football. I remember some of those games he put together was crazy. And also Vince Young. Vince Young was he was amazing as well. I mean, at Texas, right? You kind of rewind and watch those players. And Levi, what's up? When you get to College Football 25, will you start? We'll probably do something on YouTube for sure when we get that college football, when it comes out for sure. Ty, what are your questions kind of going into these last couple of days of the transfer portal, or when you look to college football overall, or just kind of look at Alabama football, Coach Kalen DeBoer? Like, what are you looking at? What's kind of on your plate, as we round out already the month of April?
Yeah, crazy that it's coming to a close. I'm still hoping we see a bit more fireworks via the transfer portal. Hopefully not from Alabama, but I think yesterday proved that we are still in for some surprises, right? We talked about Terrence Brooks over at Texas. This kid was a 5-star on some services. In fact, if we look at his 2023, he was an all Big 12 honorable mention. He had 13 solo tackles, 3 interceptions, 6 passes defended, played in all of their games, was set to be a starter this year. And due to some disagreements with the coaching style for the defensive backs over at Texas, he hits the transfer portal, meaning Texas is now in a situation where they're looking for interior defensive line, and they got to go check out what's available in terms of defensive backs. So that right there was a big surprise. Then you look at Alabama, they lose Curtis Perry yesterday. And, you talk to some people who are surprised by that. You talk to other people who are not surprised by that. What I can say on the Curtis Perry front is that I'll certainly be rooting for him. I think someone's going to get a heck of a player. Someone's going to be very happy that he's now added into their defensive room. Whenever you're in a situation where you have a defensive change of philosophy and you almost have a position switch, that's always tough, especially when you have a guy like LT Overton or Jamarian Latham. That's always a tough ask, right? And then you have Jordan Renaud back there. So very loaded position for Alabama is that bandit role, but we'll certainly be wishing Curtis Perry the best.
Do you think that if you had to, and I guess we didn't talk about the defense today, I guess we'll have to do it tomorrow, but one more offensive question for you. Do you think, if Alabama is to have, and I know you said this earlier, if they are to have 2 1,000-yard receivers, Jeremy Bernard is one, who is the other?
That's tough. I'd probably roll with Kobe Prentice.
Right, that's what I was going to say too.
It's either him or Law, but I'd probably roll with Prentice just because I think Law is going to be one of those guys where he could be pushing towards 1,000, but he's so unique in his skill set that I think they're just going to be finding ways to get him the ball, which means he'll have some jet motions. He'll actually get some handoffs in my estimation, which means the reason why I bring that up is because his usage is going to be split, in my estimation, more than most other offensive players because of the versatility he brings to the table.
Chris from New Jersey is like, it's going to be Ryan Williams. Hey, so if you're an Alabama football fan and you are in LA, not Los Angeles, I'll never, ever, ever forget, because I went through the same thing that Najee Harris. By the way, Najee Harris just got paid as well, and rightfully so. But when he moved here from Oakland, they were like, "Hey, man, I'm from LA." Same exact thing happened to me. I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to live in Los Angeles. It's amazing, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm from Northern California." They're like, "No, no, 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 like Lower Alabama." So Kalen DeBoer, Nate Oates, Jalen Milroe, Malachi Moore, I believe Ryan Williams, they're gonna all be in LA, Lower Alabama, this weekend. So definitely go check them out. Part of Yay Alabama. You can sign up for their packages or whatever. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just saying, go support your team, go support the new coach. And I think even Barstool's here in Tuscaloosa. They're doing something. Did you see that, Ty? They're like that. On campus. I was on campus today, this morning. I was running. I know you're not a runner, right, Ty?
No, if you see me running, you run after me because something's chasing us and we need to run away from it.
Yeah. So on Wednesdays, we're working at the capstone. So we're getting our work in. But Barstool, and I think they should probably have a video with Coach Kalen DeBoer coming out pretty soon. So definitely stay tuned for that. That should be fun to check out. But if you're in LA, go check out the coaches and give them some, give them some props and stuff like that. What else, Ty? Any questions for me, man, before I end my segment right here on the AM spot for Wednesday?
I guess question for you is pertaining to Ed Woods. What do you think about the perspective of him being a part of this Alabama defense? Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would like it. And I think it makes sense. I think when you look to Ed Woods and the amount of snaps and kind of his pro football focus grades, he has that, he has playing experience. And that's the only thing that I want to be brought to Alabama from that specific position, because I think right now the guys at Alabama are going to be capable to play that position, but I don't think they're going to be capable probably to like the late part of the season. So I think you need a veteran at that corner position to be able to come in and step in and maybe just push the guys, maybe just add a little bit of competition from the jump. Like you said yesterday, and it's something that was so perfect. And I keep thinking about this. You hit the nail on the head when you said you use the transfer portal like Band-Aids, right? And Alabama might have a small nick. They might have a small cut at that corner position. Not to say that the guys behind them can't step in, but I don't think that those guys are ready right now. And I think they need to go in. So whether it is Woods or somebody else kind of emerges, I know I've been asked a couple times about Tarico Davis. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think they definitely need to bring in someone there. We talked about, the kicker, then it happened. With Curtis Perry going out, it might add a little bit of room for them to bring in someone. And when you look at your scholarship numbers, sometimes some of the guys that you see on the roster that you might have as scholarships, they might be, their family might be paying for them. So you might have another roster spot that you don't know about. But Coach Kalen DeBoer was transparent with that. And he said, if you look to the numbers, you understand that we have some spots. And he did mention, he was like offensive line in the secondary. Now, he didn't mention the special teams, but I think that was quite obvious that they needed to go into there. So Woods, is he the perfect fit? Maybe not. But I think they definitely need to have Woods or someone of that caliber or higher caliber come in. And I think it'll probably happen, probably before the transfer portal ends. I'm not sure who it'll be. And remember, it can't be somebody from the SEC because they can't transfer within the SEC.
Yeah. And that to me is kind of the thing that makes me kick myself, because Terrence Brooks, right? Like if Alabama could go after him, they were involved in his process when he was coming out of high school. If I'm not mistaken, this was a battle that came down to Alabama, Ohio State, Texas. And I could be misremembering that. I very much will apologize if I am. But I seem to remember Bama being involved in that. Very talented player, has the size, has the experience. And I'm just so upset that Bama can't push for him because he could play outside corner. And the reason why I asked you about Woods is I actually just got done watching Arizona State versus Washington this past year. Mm-hmm. And he was out the first half because he had a targeting call the second half of Colorado. So he was only able to and eligible to play the second half against Washington.
Got you.
I believe his second play, Kyle. So the first one, he was on the left side of the formation. They ran it over there and he was there for the tackle. Second play, they run a little screen at him. He gets hit by the blocker, disengages perfectly, right back on the ball carrier and strips the ball from him. And I mean, his first 5 plays in the game, every single one of them was him making a play. The only time he was beat is when they had him in press man one-on-one against Rome Odunze. And let's be honest here, Rome Odunze is going to Like, he's going to get his. I don't care how good you are. Like, that guy's spectacular. He's a first rounder. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some against him. So I'm excited to see if Alabama can get that win.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you hopping on, as always this morning during, the morning segment. And there was one comment that I think I starred that I wanted to ask you about. They asked me, it was about the Florida State defensive back, which is Greedy Vance Jr. This was he committed to USC. So I'm sorry, this happened a couple of days ago. So he's off the board. So when you're looking at kind of transfer portal targets, he committed to USC. So in case you missed it, just wanted to point that out. And I don't think that Kermani McClain, what's up, Health and Wealth? I see you inside the comment box as well. I think he's probably off the board as well. So those are some guys that are off the board. And as news comes, we'll bring that to you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. But Ty, do you think, man, have an amazing segment? Please support Ty as you guys would support me. And I'll catch you next time right here on Bama Football on YouTube or as news happens.
Appreciate it, Kyle. Always great to hop in this morning's segment with you. Get the 30 minutes or so to kind of go back and forth. A lot of fun. What's up, everybody in the undefeated? What a day. What a day. We got a lot to talk about. I'm really excited to jump into it. I've seen some comments we're going to talk about. Tim, thanks for being here. Chris, Auntie Janet, Southern Red, Adam, Caleb, Dino, Owen, Health and Wealth saying, did y'all see what Kermani said about Coach Prime? I'll tell you what was interesting is in his transfer portal kind of graphic, it's what he didn't say. He thanked several of the coaches at Colorado, and one of the major names that wasn't there was Coach Prime. He was not in that. Jimmy Brown with the question saying, technically Texas doesn't join the SEC until July 1st. We could take him from the portal now. So Jimmy, I have a question about this and as well, because I'm operating under the assumption, because this is what I've been told, that even though they don't officially join until July 1st, we are not eligible to get players from Texas nor Oklahoma, nor is Oklahoma or Texas eligible to get players transferring from the SEC. Unless they want to sit a year. I talked to a guy who works with the Oklahoma NIL collective, and that's what he told me. So he's very much he's boots on the ground, helping facilitate NIL deals for the Oklahoma Sooners, very much well in contact with the Oklahoma coaching staff. And that's what he told me, is that even though they don't join until July 1st, we are not eligible to take any players from Texas and Oklahoma, nor are they eligible to take any players from SEC rosters, even though they don't officially put pen to paper until July 1st, as Davin Jones comes in with a great comment saying Texas and Oklahoma agreed to follow SEC spring portal guidelines. Man, do I wish they hadn't have, because I would really like a run at Terrence Brooks. Morning, Tony. Morning, Antoine. Oh, and happy you're in here, my guy. I also saw a great question right here asking about how did I become an Alabama fan? And so this is an interesting one, Smooth. My mom is a Alabama fan. My dad was a Nebraska fan, right? So it was a split household. Now, the reason why my dad, whenever he graduated from college, he actually became a college professor and was working as a college professor for a few years before he ultimately ended up working on a horse ranch out in Lincoln, Nebraska. And there was nothing to do there at the time. So all he would do in his free time would go to Cornhusker games. And granted, this was the 80s, and, that's when Nebraska was pretty darn good now. So he was a big time Nebraska fan, but my mom, she was from Virginia, and she had family actually go to the University of Alabama from Virginia. And so when I was growing up, my household was split because we didn't have access to like consistent cable, but you bet your bottom dollar that every Saturday, 2 games were recorded. Every Saturday, all the Nebraska games were recorded. All the Alabama games were recorded. And on Sundays, we would watch those games back. So I have VHS tapes of old Nebraska games, old Alabama games. And so because of that, I always was more partial to Alabama. And especially because in my formidable years, I remember Sean Alexander. And Sean Alexander made me love football so much more than I previously did. And I remember the Eric Crouch years at Nebraska, right? Because I have those VHS tapes. And for whatever reason, some of my earliest memories are college football. I don't know why, but like I remember I was born in 94 and some of my earliest memories at like being 5 or 6 years old was college football. And Sean Alexander took my love of college football and certainly Alabama to another level. Uh, I just loved watching him play. Then you fast forward, right? Growing up, always Alabama games were on because my mom, if y'all think I'm a diehard college football fan, if y'all think I am a diehard college football fan, you haven't seen anything yet. Like as much as my dad was my mom eats, breathes, and sleeps college football. Like that woman is obsessed, and that's where I get it from. If y'all think I'm obsessed, you haven't seen anything yet. I mean, this woman will call me 3 to 4 times a week to have hour-long conversations about college football. She knows her stuff, man. It's incredible. It's awesome. So, growing up, that was kind of the thing. Alabama games always on. And then as I kept going through my life, smooth, actually, I was all set to go to Alabama. I got this ticket right here. Let's see if it'll focus. Not a big game, but when Alabama played Western Carolina in November 17th, 2012, I was at that game. And a funny story as to how that came about, right? I was there. When is she coming? She doesn't live. I'm the only person in my family, Caleb, that lives in Texas. My father passed away actually on Father's Day 6 years ago now. And my mom, she moved to Virginia because that's where my brother is. That's where my sister is. And it was just better for her to be out of this situation because we had that horse ranch. And I tried to run the horse ranch and go to college and manage everything. And I wasn't able to do it. Overhead at those places are incredibly high, and I was just a kid, and so I didn't know what to do. So she moved to Virginia to be closer to my brother, to be closer to my sister, and to be closer to her grandchildren, and that was very good for her mental health. So whenever she's available, if I ever do a show out of Virginia, I'll certainly have her on. But the story from that ticket is I went and I was touring the campus, and I ended up walking into the stadium and signing the list that I was a part of the visitors. And I'll never forget, I still have his business card. And some of you in the Undefeated may remember the name. His name was Robert Hayes, I believe Robert Hayes III. And he ran the concessions at the time for Bryant-Denny Stadium. And so he looks at me and he's like, "You're not an athlete, are you?" And I'm not going to lie, right? I just wanted to see the field. I said, "No, sir. We're just here from Gainesville, Texas. We just wanted to see. We're touring the campus. I'm looking at going to school here. I really want to go to college here." And so I just kind of wanted to see the stadium. And he says, "Hey, I completely get it." And he was like, "You and your parents follow me." Well, he puts us in the back of a gator, drives us across to these offices, walks out of the office, and hands us tickets to the game. And that's how I got to go to the game. Is he made sure that my family and I, because he said, "Oh, my family's not coming, and so you can have my tickets." And so he gave us his tickets, and my family and I got to watch Alabama versus Western Carolina. And I'll never forget that. But the only reason I didn't go to Alabama smooth is because I thought I was going to go to law school after undergrad. And I got scholarship to Alabama, but not a full ride. And I didn't want to graduate undergrad with a ton of debt and then go to law school and then accrue more debt. Now, come to find out, I didn't actually end up going to law school. I worked in law firms, some great law firms with some really great attorneys. My boss at one point was the president of the Bar Association right here in Texas. So, man, I was very lucky. But had I known I wasn't going to law school, I would have been at Alabama. Had I known that, I would have gone. But I didn't want to rack up a bunch of debt. Owen Davis says, "Any rumors on scooping up these defensive backs in the portal? Is that kid from Colorado a good target or no?" So I think Kermani McLean's got real high upside, Owen. I think that he has got really, really high upside. But the problem is we're basing it off of upside. Now, that in and of itself is not problematic, Owen, but understand right now, whenever the need of Alabama is experience in the secondary, right? Like there's no doubt that they have got great upside. You look at Jalen Mbakwe, now that he gets to be singularly focused on one position, he's got unbelievable upside. You look at Zay Mincy, he's got unbelievable upside. I mean, that argument applies for all of them. Red Morgan, Dre Kirkpatrick Jr., Zabian Brown, the whole defensive back class. And so the problem with getting in a Kermani McLean is you're not getting an experience, you're getting upside. And at the point where you would get somebody that doesn't have experience, personally, I'd rather roll with the guys that Alabama currently has because they committed to Alabama. Right? And that's just the way I look at it. P. Todd, good to see you in here, my man. Good to see you in here. Hey, well, I'm very sorry to hear that, Jared. It's, that's life. It's one of those things where there's ups, there's downs, it's ebbs, it's flows. Shane says, "What's keeping you in Texas?" My wife, actually. She is a teacher here. She has family here. Now we're looking to try and move out to Virginia because I have some stuff going on in the background that it's not important, right? Everybody has stuff going on. Everybody has things happening, but I'm trying to get out there to be closer to some of my family in Virginia. That way I don't lose any more family while being away from everybody. Let's see, what else? Any thoughts on the defensive lineman Dominic Williams from TCU? Very talented. Very, very talented. Really love his game. Actually just got done doing a film study on him last night. And I am really interested to see what he does. He just came off of a visit from the Oklahoma Sooners this past weekend where he watched the spring game. From there, he left the Oklahoma visit, went to Texas. Now, as I know about it, it's one of those things where I don't think Alabama is currently slated for a visit. Right? I don't think Alabama is currently slated for a visit. I think that it is Oklahoma, Texas, Oregon. Oh boy, I'm missing two of them. Oregon, and I forget the other two schools off the top of my head, Byron, and I very much will apologize for that. I should have remembered that, but I don't. But I don't think Alabama's slated for a visit, but we'll see what happens. I will say, I don't think that Alabama needs help on the interior defensive line. I think they're very good there. High probability the kid from Arizona State ends up at Bama. How big of a get would he be? I really like his game, AJ. So one of the things about Ed Woods, ladies and gentlemen, that I want you all to remember is that he is a hammer that treats everything like a nail. And in the game of football, he's not scared of contact. He is not scared of contact. He will come down, he will lay the wood. And like I said, I actually, right before I hopped into this stream, I was watching the Arizona State-Washington game. And whenever I was watching it, you skip through the first half because he didn't play in the first half. He took that targeting call in the second half of Colorado, which nullified his ability. LSU and Colorado were the other two teams. Thank you very much, Kevin. Thank you very much. I knew one of them was an SEC school, but for whatever reason, I thought Missouri. I guess I was thinking Tigers, but even then, that's not even close. Thank you very much for that. This is why you guys are undefeated. Jared says it's been 3 years. I'm really sorry to hear that, Jared. That's very soon. I'm very sorry to hear that it was just 3 years ago. I know how that goes. Time passes, right? But it doesn't necessarily get easier. It just becomes normal. You know what I mean? Time passes, it doesn't get easier, it just becomes normal. The plus side is the other day, Jared, when we were in here talking, Kyle asked me about the tattoos I had on my shin. I actually just got done a dagger here in Denton, and the tattoo artist put in my dad's brand into the hilt of the dagger. So I'll always have that, which I was really excited about. And I know that's not anything related to college football, but I was just very excited that he did that for me. It looks very good. So, talking about Ed Woods, I think that he is a really great addition. I think that he is going to be able to come in and compete. And the thing I love about him is he has versatility. He has got a lot of versatility. He can play safety. He can play corner. Now, against Washington, he was out there at corner against Polk, against Adunze, against really, really gifted wide receivers. I mean, we're not talking your run-of-the-mill college wide receiver now. He was out there covering dudes, straight up dudes. Love this question by JS Webb. I'll get to that right after we finish up this conversation because I do think that's a great talking point, Webb. Thank you very much for that question. That's what I love about Ed Woods. He's got a lot of versatility, right? He is able to play safety. He's able to play outside corner, and he's very good in off coverage. Now, I did see him do some press man, and he was beat on those, I think, 2 reps I saw him do press man. He was beat. But I do want to point out the caveat is he was playing press man against Rome Odunze. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the best measuring stick, especially for a guy that's moving all over the place to help his secondary. And whenever he was beat, he was in phase with Rome. Right? He was in phase with Rome Odunze. And that's a guy that's going to beat most college cornerbacks. I liken that battle to what we've talked about whenever the All-American game was here, and you had Zabian Brown versus Jeremiah Smith, and Jeremiah Smith lost, I think, the first 2 reps they did against each other, and then he won like the next 3. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly how this goes. Whenever you're going up against, you can be the most talented defensive back out there. You're going up against a different type of wide receiver. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But what I did love about Ed Woods is if Odunze beat him off the line, he was in phase with him. He wasn't getting just flat out burnt. And when he's in off coverage, he has got a great ability to diagnose. He's got great eye discipline. And that would be huge for our secondary. Right? He would be a very great addition for our secondary because of his eye discipline. There were so many times where DeBoer and them were trying to do little switch routes to confuse the defensive backs. And anytime they did it to Wood's side, I mean, he was getting his players in position. He was making sure, like, no, we're not getting beat by this. And yeah, I really like the prospect of being able to get him, especially, like I said, his second play in the game against Washington. They run a screen pass at him. He gets picked up by the block, sheds the block, runs down the wide receiver, and strips the ball. He's really good, man. He's really good. I had a lot of fun watching his film. And one, I think he was coached really, I like the coaching staff. I like the coaching staff at Arizona State. Kenny Dillingham, I'm really interested to see what he does. They just lost Rashad Samples. You guys know how high I am on Rashad Samples. They had Brian Carrington out there. They got a good coaching staff out there at Arizona State. Young guys, but really exciting. So if you're wondering a team you should be watching this year, maybe not in the SEC, I would highly recommend Arizona State. That's not to say I think that they're going to win a championship. Certainly not. I just think that they're an interesting team to watch, especially with so many young coaches. Going on to JS's question, how does our offensive line look this year? This is the question, JS. This is certainly the question. Whenever we look at the offensive line, quite frankly, it just hasn't been good enough over the previous few years. And whenever you look, right, I know there's some people out there, and I don't disagree in totality. And I want to get that out of the way first. Whenever people are like, oh, well, some of these sacks are on Milroe. I don't disagree with you. Milroe is a young quarterback, first year starting, naturally. Any first year quarterback, they're going to take sacks that maybe they shouldn't have. That's completely fair. I think where I disagree with not everybody, but some people who pontificate that argument. What a word, huh? We're gonna do some vocabulary today, ladies and gentlemen. So I think some of the people who put forth that argument, the reason I disagree with them is because yes, David Mills. Yes. It has been subpar. Ever since Doug Marrone, it has been subpar. They did play them very close last year. But speaking on the offensive line, like I said, I think that there's a principled argument that some of those sacks come at the behest of Jalen Milroe just being young. Name me a young quarterback out there that has taken sacks that they shouldn't, right? Everybody does. Everybody does. So that doesn't move me. But the reason why I bring that up is because Bryce took a bunch of sacks. This isn't a problem relegated to one offensive line or one quarterback. This is a problem that's been pervasive for 3 years, and it cannot continue. It absolutely cannot continue. It just can't. We're Alabama. I've said this stat time and time again, and I apologize for beating a dead horse. The U of A versus Washington game was better. Yeah, U of A was really good last year. Ebony, they were really good. Really fun to watch. Noah Fafita, McMillan had some really good defensive pieces as well. Really a fun team to watch. And Dino says, and that's with first round line. 100%. 100%. And Caleb King, as was I. I was excited when we hired Marone. I thought that, NFL experience could be something to watch, and it did not end well. So I was right there with you, my man. So when you look at this, the offensive line's got to get better. I do love the guard tandem Alabama brings to the table in terms of Booker and Roberts. And as the season went on, I thought that the offensive line absolutely got better. I didn't think there was a question about that they absolutely got better. Now, the question is how much can you continue to improve? Now, in a perfect world, Caden Proctor never transfers out because I am of the mindset that he needed spring. He needed spring with this new team, and I'm going to maintain that. You don't even, no, Keenafy, that, oh, no, that's not true, Keenafy. That's not true, Keenafy. But you look at this, I think Caden Proctor needed it. The offensive line isn't like the defensive line, right? What do we talk about when we talk about defensive line all the time is that you're throwing wave after wave at an offensive front. You can have principled rotation within the defensive line and maintain it through the course of a game. You're not going to do that with offensive line. And if you are, I'm going to be a little worried. And then I'm going to come on a live stream and be like, why are we playing musical chairs with the offensive line? Because the offensive line has to gel. They need time. In a perfect world, Caden Proctor never transfers. Batman, he was, I believe Tim is saying that Doug Marone was a bust, not that Bryce was a bust. I think he's saying that Doug Marone as an offensive line coach was a bust. Or at least that's what I took away from that. I could be wrong there, but that was my interpretation of what Tim was saying, Batman. By the way, I love your movies. Or documentaries, I should say. Love your documentaries. And so, offensive line has to get better. Really wish Caden Proctor was there for spring. Really excited for fall camp. But I think that whenever I hear about someone like Brockermeyer pushing Brailsford, I'm excited about that. Now, I'm always curious as to what the situation with Brailsford was, and it's none of my business. Right? It's none of my business. But I think that the competition at center, that's going to be welcome because I don't think that there was that competition at center last year. I don't think that competition was there last year, and I think it really bit Alabama in the butt. This year, you don't have that problem. So the question is how much has Caden Proctor progressed? I think that him slimming down, which he is visually slimmer, I think that's already huge. I think he was playing well overweight for an 18-year-old true freshman. Kids going up against SEC defensive linemen that have been strength and conditioning program for 4 years. He's 18 years old, bigger than he should be. I just never thought that was going to end out successful, right? It was either going to be a complete anomaly or it was going to be a disaster. And it was a disaster. It was a disaster. And I don't put that all on Proctor, right? I think he's got very high upside. And so I think the offensive line will be better. Really interested to see what they do with right tackle. And I know that they wanted to get some guys in the transfer portal on the offensive line, but and many of you in the Undefeated will know this, I have always been of the impression that that position, offensive line, is very difficult to find in the transfer portal. I think it's very difficult to get a guy in the transfer portal. Not impossible. Alabama has done it before. Alabama's done it before where they go in the transfer portal and get a guy that starts on the offensive line. So it can be done, no doubt about it. But I think that out of all the positions out there, offensive line's one of the most difficult to just walk into the transfer portal and be like, there's a starter. Because very few starters and like experienced starters hit the transfer portal. It happens, but not often. Adam, very sorry to hear about your father. Very sorry to hear about your father. What do you think about the tight end? I don't know too much about his game, Jermaine, so I'll go check him out. I'll make a note on it. And we will have that conversation tomorrow. Because I also have some other people asking about the tight end position. Let me make a note of that. All right. I'll be sure to go watch his stuff, Jermaine, and then we'll have that conversation tomorrow. But I'm not well-versed enough in his game to be able to just sit up here confidently and break it down right now off the top of my head. Jeffrey Elliott says, how do you feel about our tight ends? Should we pick up an athletic pass catcher in the portal if any are available? I like our tight ends, Jeffrey. And listen, I don't know that we necessarily have a Brock Bowers in the room, but I think CJ Dupree is a very talented guy. I think when we look at what he did before he came to Alabama, having over 300 yards, he can be a really productive tight end. Plus, whenever he was at Alabama last year, he was averaging just shy of 20 yards per reception. So I like his game. You also have Oots, who I think is really interesting. You have Danny Lewis, who, once again, I think is very interesting. And then you have Cuevas coming in. So I think that the tight end position is good, right? I think that the tight end position is good. Now, that being said, you always want that game-changing tight end because I am of the belief that the tight end position, if you can get a mismatch there, it's the most difficult position in football to guard. And I understand why they put Caleb Odom out at wide receiver because he's got wide receiver tendencies, right? Like he is a wide receiver. But I do think that the tight end room is good. I think that it's there because I think you're multifaceted in what you can do. And plus Cuevas coming in from Washington, understanding DeBoer's system, having that understanding of what he once done from that position, I think is very interesting. The problem at Alabama is what is most needed is quality depth, especially at offensive line. Most of the portal guys, exactly, David. Great point. Great point, David Mills. Great point. And this is a conversation we had yesterday. Why are you entering the transfer portal is a question I believe should be asked. And that's not, understand when I say that, that's not to say, oh, you entered the transfer portal bad. No. I think that there's 1,000,001 reasons to enter the transfer portal. I'm fine with you entering the transfer portal. No worries. But if you want to come in and be an immediate starter, you got to be a dude. We're not Tulsa. We're not University of North Texas. We're not Texas State. We're not Auburn. Notice how I snuck that one in there? You want to transfer to Alabama, you got to be a dude. You got to be an absolute dude. And if you are wanting to start, you got to be able to beat out the guys that are there. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to get in offensive line depth from the transfer portal. I love that comment, David. Max Tree says, what's the story with McVay and Formby? We have 5 tackles. Why do we need more? I don't know that we have that many tackles, Max Tree. I think we only have 12 to 13 scholarship offensive linemen. So you have a 1 group, you have a 2 group, and then after that, you got questions. I think you'd want more depth. But I could be wrong on that. But I think we have 14. Okay. If we have 14, then, that certainly helps. But you just don't have the depth and the experienced depth that you would like, at least from where I sit. What does mine say? I'm not sure. Let's see. What else do we have? Caleb Odoms +5. Oh, that's a good one. That's a very good question. I'm going to go just under. I'm going to go just under, Ronnie, because you got a lot of names in this offense. I'm going to go just under. But I think for a true freshman, he's going to really, the stat that I think is going to be eye-popping for Odom is going to be the touchdowns. I think that's where it's going to be like, oh, wait, how many touchdowns did he have? Because I just think that he is going to be unguardable in the red zone. Had some more questions I wanted to get to. What are your thoughts? What are the odds of getting Takario Davis? I'd say low. He's got a no contact clause in, meaning he'd have to reach out to you. Or you'd have to have a player reach out to him, right? And kind of do that tampering we talked about yesterday, right? So I'd say Takario Davis low, very low. Wood strikes me as the type of guy that'll be good stopgap while the younger quarterbacks come along. Wouldn't be surprised if... Yeah, listen, I think that this is great comment, JT. I think that Ed Woods has the ability to be a starter all year in this defense. I really like what I see out of him. He is not shying away from contact. He is an aggressive player. He is a determined player. And I think that's the exact type of guy you want to surround your young guys with. Because learning from him, learning from Malachi, I love that. And someone had a comment earlier asking about Malachi, if getting Woods means maybe you could put Malachi at that nickel cornerback where he's more used to playing and put Woods at safety. Would Woods work better playing safety, bring Malachi more inside to Husky and ride with Xavier and opposite? You could. You certainly could. You certainly could. That's the beautiful thing about, and Jermaine, this is what I always mean. This is what I always mean when I say I love having guys that have that versatility, because you can min-max rooms. Now, what do I mean when I say min-max rooms? Well, this is exactly it right here, Jermaine. It's your point that you've pointed out right here. If Woods comes in and it's like, hey, Malachi is going to understand more of that Husky role, but Woods, he's going to be a supreme safety. Well, now you roll with him back there because he has the ability to do so. Malachi has the ability to play elsewhere. You can maximize your defense's ability by having guys that can play multiple positions. And I think Alabama's very lucky. You know, great point about Woods and Malachi, but then you also look and you have a guy like Zay Mincy. That guy right there, he can play multiple different positions, right? So you can move pieces around in this defense. So that's a great point. I think that it would remain as we expect it to, meaning I think Malachi will stay at safety, but it does point out the versatility that is at the table and how you can min-max entire rooms based off of said versatility. Ty, do you think Milroe will improve and become the quarterback we've seen glimpses of last year? 100%, Zachary. And this is something I talk about all the time, Zachary. I love this comment. Because the thing that Milroe hasn't had, the thing that Bryce didn't even have, and it's part of the reason why I'm always such a big Bryce Young fan, it's because Bryce didn't have the luxury of having some quarterback whisperer in college. He didn't have that luxury. He didn't. AJ Milwee and Sark were gone. And then you just didn't have that quarterback developer. And even last year with Jalen Milroe, you just didn't have that guy who you looked at and you're like, man, that's a quarterback whisperer. Well, now he's in a room where you have Kalen DeBoer, who's done great work with quarterbacks. You have Nick Sheridan, who is a former quarterback himself at Michigan, has done great work with quarterbacks. Lest we forget, and I pointed this out yesterday, that Shepard was the passing game coordinator, as Apple always tries to hold me down. It's a targeted attack, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's a targeted attack from Auburn, from me calling them out. Shepard was the passing game coordinator at Washington, and while he might not be working with the quarterbacks, he's going to be able to help formulate some stuff to get Milroe in rhythm. And once you get Milroe in rhythm, I think he's very difficult to get out of rhythm. And then you have Brian Ellis, or Brian Ellis? I don't know. Now I've confused myself. But Ellis, the tight ends coach, and he has worked with quarterbacks and been the passing game coordinator before. Even though he's the tight end coach, I'm not saying he's going to be working with Milroe. My only point here, Zachary, is everywhere you look in this new offensive staff room are quarterback developers. They're everywhere. So I 100% think that everything will be set up for Milroe to take advantage of what he has access to now and make those strides. I like this comment, Antoine. I think they're just giving Malachi a chance to show versatility. We already know he can play the roll down safety spot. Now he gets a chance to captain the back end of the defense. I like it. I do as well. I like that comment a lot. Milroe's hips and feet look so much different this year. His mechanics are getting great, and he has been in the weight room more. Yeah, I mean, listen, physicality has never been the question for Milroe. That guy right there, even in high school, was different, built different. The offensive line is analogous to two pilots in a plane. They have to know each other's move. Yeah, I love this. That's a great comment, Adam. That's a really great comment. You have got to have that gelling in the offensive line. Do we have any offensive line guys coming in? I don't believe so. I think they all early enrolled. I think Alabama was very lucky to have a lot of people early enroll, but I could be off on that. What's the stories? Okay, we addressed that already. Dwayne says I'd take a player like Woods. See, yeah, I mean, I think that sometimes the wrong fit can create wrong tendencies. You know what I mean? I think if you're in the wrong situation, and listen, there's different ways to fight adversity. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. But I also think that the wrong fit can create wrong tendencies. And he's young. He's very young. He's a kid. I'm hoping that Kermani, wherever he goes, a better fit will create better tendencies. Maybe that's me being optimistic. And if you're of the belief saying, I don't agree with you, Ty, I think you're being optimistic, I'll take that. I'll take that. When did the offense go to the class? They've been doing so all spring, my man. They'll continue doing so. Nick's age didn't allow us to. I've often wondered, because he talked about in his interview that it became harder to guarantee to the athletic director and to the university that he'd be able to be there. And so he was kind of operating under the assumption like, hey, we'll take this 1 year at a time. That's a great point. That's a really good point. The DeBoer offense is way more quarterback friendly. 100%. Yeah, 100% agree, Adam. 100% agree. Ty does. That's a strong name there, Ty. That's a very strong name. I like that name. Happy you're here with us this morning. With us losing so many defensive backs and now having so many young bucks, do you think we'll be in a lot of shootouts this season? We could be. I don't think so, but we could be. I mean, listen, one thing we have to acknowledge about the SEC this year is that, you're going to have some teams replacing quarterbacks, but you're going to have some teams that have that continuity at the quarterback position. And the teams that have the continuity at the quarterback position, they're going to be the dangerous ones. They're going to be dangerous. But I wouldn't expect shootouts to be the norm, right? I think that whenever you look, I love Alabama's front, and I think they're going to be able to really affect some quarterbacks, or at least I hope so. I certainly hope so. Chance Eaton asks, do you think that the strength of our running back room falls off over time with the new pass-happy offense? No, I don't, Chance. Absolutely not. And one thing that Coach Kalen DeBoer stated that I actually went back and did a little bit of a film study on to see if he was correct, to see if he actually did it, is he adjusts the offense to the needs and to the personnel. And whenever we look, Dylan Johnson ran for over 1,200 yards. Dylan Johnson ran for over 1,200 yards. So when he has a running back, and the important thing to note on that, Chance, is that Dylan Johnson singularly had 100 plus more carries than the year prior's leading rusher. And the reason why I think that that's a compelling point is because it absolutely backs up Kalen DeBoer's mindset of, hey, I will adjust my offense to the personnel. Whenever he didn't have a running back that he thought he could use as like a bell cow, right, where he could just hand it to him over and over again, he split it. But whenever he had a guy that he was like, okay, we can run through Dylan Johnson, we can use him as a really big piece of this offense, he gave him a lot of carries. Dylan Johnson had 1,200 yards. And listen, Washington's offense, you could tell that he absolutely adjusted it for Dylan Johnson's skill set, because when Dylan Johnson got hurt at the end of the year, you could tell. And they did great jobs adjusting the offense around that injury. But you could tell, like, man, are they missing Dylan Johnson? Man, did they make him a formidable part of this offense. So I wouldn't expect that at all, Chance. I think that the running backs will be just as good as ever. I sure hope so, Jermaine. Sure hope so. Ty asked earlier, but had to walk away. What's keeping you in Texas? My wife. We're looking to move back east, but that's pretty much what it is. Actually, I think we have the best. I don't think that you're wrong in saying that. I think it's super deep, top to bottom. Sorry, I'm a little behind in the video, but please, Ty, don't be afraid of Auburn. I live close enough. I'll deal with them. Hey, you, and then I'll get Blaze on them, and they don't want Blaze. They do not want Blaze. They might have to call in the National Guard if I sick Blaze on them. That man is not right in the head. Yeah, and one thing I love, David, and I'm glad you pointed this out, is I loved how Kalen DeBoer even told Jalen, like, hey, I love that you're like so pressed to be the best quarterback you can be. Like, I love that. But don't forget what a gifted athlete you are. Right? That was something Kalen DeBoer talked about, and I love that. Wherever he was identifying to Jalen Milroe, like, hey, I know that you want to be the best quarterback that you can possibly be. And I really respect that. I love that. We're going to help you get there. But don't forget what a God-given athlete you are. Don't forget that you have got an ability that 1% of the 1% don't have. Use it. Because in using it, you will threaten a defense and make your life as a quarterback easier. I love Blaze. He concerned me too. He hexed me. Did you know that, Ebony? I invite him into my home, into my studio. He bonks me over the head with the stick, hexes me, and then he like portaled Blaze somewhere because even he could sense that he didn't want that smoke. So Blaze had to hit the transfer portal. I wake up 3 hours later and Grand Alf's gone. And I'm just sitting there like, what happened? So I apologize for anything that may have happened that day. I thought that we were on cordial terms when I invited him into my home. And he hexed me. The nerve. That's what you get for inviting strangers into your home, I suppose. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Remember, Grandolph for copyright purposes. Grandolph for copyright purposes. Yeah, I think the running backs are going to be a huge part of this offense. Will Ryan Williams be a big part of the offense this year? I think he'll be a part of the offense this year, no doubt about it. Because the thing with Ryan Williams, Zach, is that you can move him around, and let's say you start playing him at slot. Oh, goodness gracious. I feel sorry for any nickel cornerback that would have to cover Ryan Williams. Like, gosh, they're going to have a real tough time. They're going to have a real tough time. So, well, we've corralled him. Grandalf was nice enough whenever he left to portal Blaze back, and Blaze was not happy. Let me tell you what, whenever Blaze got here, the mullet was all over the place. It looked like he'd seen some things that he didn't ever intend on seeing. And yeah, he was not happy. He's still working through some of those things he saw. We're fixing it though. You don't worry about that. Blaze will be fine. Well, fine is a relative term, right? Fine's a relative term. He is special. I think he's generational, Cynthia. Don't say that lightly. But to run a 10-4, is a sophomore is incredible. Ruben, I saw your comment. We're gonna move past that. Someone's asked Grandalf the gray or the white. I didn't get a chance to ask him because he hexed me. And then he hit me over the head with his walking stick. Some people. Yeah, listen, Tim. He had a look in his eye where I for the first time in my life, I was like, you know that Dr. Evil? Whenever Dr. Evil is like... That was me to Blaze whenever he came back from the portal. My man.
What's up, brother?
Oh, you
Feeling
know.
good.
Sitting here talking ball.
Man, I went and got my MacBook fixed yesterday. That's why I wasn't able to get on last night, man. It is running smooth. It is grooving. But my camera looked better today, too. It's working. Everything's looking good.
Don't get me started on Mac.
Jam Miller and Tim Keenan have both raved about Miro's improvement, and he still has fall camp to go under this new offensive coaching staff. I can't wait to see him thrive on the field. Southern Red, I think you share a lot of sentiments I share. Welcome me to the chat. To the scene, y'all. I appreciate y'all for pulling up today and hanging out. Ty, I was listening in and out on your segment, man. You just do a good job, bro. Sometimes I get like I'm supposed to be working on other stuff in the background, and I get caught up just like, dang, this dude I wish I could debate with him right now. Like that's because it be stuff. It's not stuff that I don't agree with, but I would like to play the fan role in some of these points you be making. You know how fans have their thoughts, like even with facts stated, it's like, but I just like to see that play out live. What up, y'all?
You know me.
They like the hat. Y'all like the hat?
That is a clean hat.
Let me tell you. So this was the first hat I bought when I got to T-Town and went on campus. This was the first $62 I spent on the strip. So I'm gonna keep this, and this is my new era hat. So this might be my game day hat. You know, my at-home game day hat. You never know. I know I got my game visor already. I got that one on A-Day, and I'm gonna wear that one for every game. The way Miro played when I wore that visor, I'm definitely gonna wear that visor to every game.
I like it, man. Yeah, I'm not someone that can rock a visor. I gotta have the full hat.
I got a visor head, man. And then my hairstyle, like me growing my hair now, it kind of works better with the visor. I got a question for the chat. This is for the chat and for you, Ty. Do y'all have like superstition, like game gear? Like you have to wear a certain something for certain games? Like me, during Saban era, I had this number 15 jersey that I had, and I actually went through 2 visors during Saban era. But that number 15 jersey, I wore that mug for every big game. And then I started learning more and more as time went on. Like for big games, I couldn't be somewhere else. Like I had to be at my space. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to be in my space with my gear on, because if I wasn't, I felt like them the games we lost. Like the kick 6 game, I was somewhere I shouldn't have been. Like I shouldn't have been in Montgomery. I should have been at home in front of the TV in my spot, because if I would have been in my spot, we would have won that game. You got gear like that, or you got like superstitions like that?
I can't say anything, but I'm going to tell y'all something about the kick 6, right? Do you want to know? When Auburn wins in spectacular fashion, bad things happen. And that's not just me saying it, right? Auburn wins via the kick 6. Crazy thing is we were all at the ranch. I had a bunch of friends, because everybody, once we got consistent internet, everybody would come over to my house. Like we would have 30 to 40 people on game days. The football team would be out there. The soccer team would be out there. The basketball, because we built one of the guys that at my high school, he welded a soccer goal on my ranch and we'd go out there and play soccer. We had a full soccer field out there and we would just go have fun. But Auburn wins via the kick 6. I end up just leaving. And the funny thing is everybody was still at my house. And I was like, I'm out. I'm going over to someone else's. Did y'all realize that later that night, rest in peace, Paul Walker died?
Dang. You ain't lying. Every time we lose to Auburn, something crazy happened. You ain't lying. It's not meant
to be. It's not meant
to be. It's not
supposed
to happen, bro. It's not supposed to happen. My boy, my sister Cynthia says she paced a lot. Listen, I was in Buffalo Wild Wings for the kick 6 game. Oh, that's the man. I tell you where I was. I was in Montgomery, Alabama, man, at one of my partner's house, and we were sitting there. I mean, and this is so. If you in the state of Alabama, Thanksgiving weekend isn't even like Thanksgiving weekend is Iron Bowl week. Like it's Iron Bowl weekend. That whole week is Iron Bowl prep, Thanksgiving. So, let me turn my do not disturb on. Folks be calling me. But so we're down in Montgomery, right? And the game's going on, it's going back and forth. And when Coach Saban brought the kicking team out, I was on the back porch. And I was like, man, we got to go to overtime. And I walked in the door right as they snapped the ball to kick it, bro. I walked right back in there to catch it on the screen. And the whole play, this was my facial expression. It was like that for the whole play, from the snap until the finish. And like even after it was done, when Chris Davis scored, I just stood there. Like everybody in the house, you had some people like, man, tripping and stuff. Auburn fans talking trash. My cousin, she was in there talking trash. And I'm just standing there like this. Like I could not believe that had happened. And I was just like, for a good 3 minutes, man. Like it was bad. It was bad. I felt sick. I ain't drive home that night. I used to be able to just drive. I ain't drive home. I had to stay on the couch. It was bad, man. I think that's when my fandom changed. Like I started trying to detach so much emotions to games, because I talked so much trash that, oh my God, that's what hurt. Having to go and stand back up for all the trash that I talked, that's what hurt. That's what really hurt, man.
I didn't even make it to their field goal. I left. I literally walked out the house, got in the 350Z, and drove away before they kicked the field goal.
Man, I was sick, man. 2009 season was the first season me and my bro got up for every game. Undefeated, championship, first in years. As soon as we didn't link for a game, we lost. We felt entirely Copley. I you know what?
What was your fault?
It was. You don't supposed to change up. You know what? What's crazy? I blame myself for this Michigan game. The Michigan loss. I blame myself, man. I blame myself. I don't know what it was. Me and Jance was in the Discord chat talking. I was like, bro, it's all my fault, bro. And you know what? I didn't have my game socks on, man. I had on regular black Nike socks. I did not have on my Alabama socks, man. I could not find them for nothing, bro. I had my scarf.
It's your fault.
It's my fault, bro. I accept full responsibility. Alabama Nation. Don't blame Milroe. Don't blame Seth McLaughlin. Don't blame Tommy Rees. Don't blame anybody. It's all me.
Like that in South Park. Rabble, 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 rabble.
But yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy how I think the magical thinking. Nah, man, it's real, bro. I don't care what y'all say. Like the superstitions is real, man. It's why they have rituals and like pregame rituals and all that stuff. If somebody don't be acting right, like them Texas A&M folks that they fans when they do that, all that crazy.
Don't bring
when they do it all that.
That's the worst. That's the worst. Bro, did any of y'all watch The Office? Have you ever seen The Office? Tell me why the Texas A&M warm-up dance looks like whenever Jim and Pam have their daughter Cece, and Jim is doing the little the moves he taught her. It looks like the exact same thing. It looks like they just looked at whatever Texas A&M was doing.
That's what I be like. I be like, what in the world? They love it though. They be doing their little sway and rocking. That's like it's funny, man. Man, I'm telling y'all that superstition is real. But Ty, I saw the way too early rankings. I meant to give the screenshot. Let me pull one up. CF football way too early ranking. All right, here we go. Is this it right here? Wait, that's the old one, right? Do you Ty, do you have a link to the one they just put out today?
Let me see if I can't find it. I know it's CBS.
Yeah, CBS Sports right here. Boom. Here we go. Yeah, that's the one that had Oregon in front of. Yep, this the one. Let me see. Can we get? I'm trying to get a good screenshot. If they got a, yeah, here we go. Now that's last year's playoff rankings. I want to talk about it, man, because I don't mind the rankings. I know a lot of people were mad about where Alabama's fell. Me personally, I think it's good for us to start at 7, 8. You know, I think they got us at 6 this in the two early rankings. And this one they have us at 5. And this one they have Georgia,
what's
Ohio
the deal
State.
With it under? They have way too early ranking 2 under the whole reasoning for Alabama. What's up with that?
Let me see. Way too early ranking 2. Oh, so they're trying to say they're giving them the number 2, like because Oregon has 4. Texas has 7. Yeah, and that's what it's looking like. Way too early. So this is the reason why they're up, and this is quoted by CBS. Who's the writer on this? Dennis Dodd. This is what his quote was. Yeah, this is what his quote was on the Alabama, and he has Alabama at number 5 preseason rank. He says, first-year coach Caleb DeBoer has survived the loss of several transfers expected. His offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, also sort of expected, and offensive line coach, Scott Huff, not expected. But there seems to be stability setting in around the board in year 1 as he sits at the center of one of the offseason's biggest storylines. The Crimson Tide transitioning from Saban after 17 years and 6 national titles, way too early, ranking number 2. Didn't do much explaining of why, other than stating the obvious. We lost some transfers, but I like where that puts a team like this with this where we're sitting in this stage as far as the transition. I think it keeps the guys hungry. Also, it keeps a little bit of a disrespect factor. Like, we're still the team that just came from being in the previous year's playoff. We lost to the eventual national champions. Like,
Took them to overtime.
what took them to overtime? And if it wasn't for a bad snap, it would have been 2 overtimes. So I mean, or if it wasn't for me not having my if I had my game socks on, it would have been 2 overtimes. But that's neither here nor there.
Right in time, because Blaze was about to swing through this door. Stay back.
I know it, man. I'm trying to keep it correct. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep it transparent around these streets. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep it real for my people. Stay accountable. That's what we do. I should have had my socks on, but past that, you got to think about it, man. That's crazy for like people to look at Bama's roster and what we're returning, and look at what Coach Kalen DeBoer did at Washington, right? What he did at Fresno, what he did as an OC at Indiana, what he did at the NAIA level, winning 3 national championships. The guy knows how to win. Now you're giving him a talent. Like, look at the roster. And another conversation we could slide into after your thoughts on it. The transfer portal news right now. Curtis Perry. I mean, that's one of few that I seen leaving, but what's your thoughts on the preseason record? I heard you talk with Kyle about it. I just want to get like a fresh take on it.
Yeah, I certainly don't understand why Oregon is ahead of Alabama. And I like Dylan Gabriel. Like, I'm someone who does think, hey, Dylan Gabriel is a very talented guy. Listen, I'm not saying he's a world beater, but in terms of having an experienced quarterback, I think every room in the nation that needs a quarterback would take Dylan Gabriel in a heartbeat, because he's consistent. He doesn't put you in positions that are going to be detrimental, and he's experienced. But I can't, in any good faith, put Oregon above Alabama. And originally, I was like, you know what, I get Texas up. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, I mean, Texas is in a position where they don't have A.D. Mitchell. They don't have Xavier Worthy. Yes, they get Isaiah Bond, but Isaiah Bond is really a big play wide receiver in terms of like the long shot. Quinn Ewers was, I think, 10th in the nation in terms of passes and accurate passes over 20 yards. Like, if you look at how Sark modified that offense last year for Quinn Ewers, I think it was something like 28% of the passes were thrown at or within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage to get Quinn in rhythm. And while Quinn was unbelievable against Bama, his deep passing has been the thorn in the side of the Longhorns. And so the one that I would absolutely argue with is Oregon. I absolutely don't understand that one. I'm arguing with myself about Texas because at one point I'm like, yeah, they made a college football playoff. They return Quinn. Fair enough. But they lose 2 wide receivers that might go in the first round. They lose 2 defensive tackles that were game wreckers. Murphy and Sweat, thank God they're gone. Like, seriously. Right. Thank the Lord above that they don't come to the SEC full time. They're monsters.
Yeah, especially this first year in the SEC. I'm not trying to deal with that. Let's let Miro have some games where he just go crazy. He ain't got to worry about no dudes like that.
They're monsters, man. Like, and listen, y'all know me. I bleed crimson, but a fact is a fact. Those two, there be monsters on the interior of that Texas defense last year. I think they're more confident about what they have rushing the edge. Colin Simmons coming from Duncanville. By the way, Alabama making some headway on Duncanville's quarterback, which I'm very excited about because, I've watched him a ton. Colin Simmons coming from Duncanville to Texas, he's a freak.
You talking about Keelan Russell?
Yeah. But Colin Simmons out there.
I'm just offered.
Yep, he's a freak. Colin Simmons is going to be really fun to watch. A lot like Anthony Hill, just freakish. The Texas over Bama one is even one where I think there's an argument, but I'm not as pressed about that one as I am about the Oregon one, because at least for Texas, I can say, well, they have Sark, and I believe in Sark more than I believe in Dan Lanning.
100%.
Sorry, I do. And they have Quinn, and they made a college football playoff last year. None of which Oregon did. Oregon doesn't return a quarterback. They didn't make a college football playoff. They didn't win their conference. I don't get that one. and they're moving into a more difficult conference. I don't know. You couldn't win the Pac. How you? I don't know. That's one I have some questions about.
Yeah, Ohio State for me. I know Michigan lost a lot, but Ohio State has lost to Michigan 3 years in a row now. Ohio State is coming back with some firepower, but can it come together? Can Ryan Day, with all the money that they spent to buy this roster this season, can they get to the college? They'll get in the college football playoff. Their schedule is horrible, right? I could see them probably losing. They might go undefeated. Ohio State might go undefeated. When you look at their schedule, it's not even fair. Looking at that schedule and considering them a top 5 team with that type of schedule. But I still think Michigan in that conference is still going to be somewhat competitive, man. I think because they haven't lost everything. You know, they got to get a lot of experience on that roster last year. And, you know, the few pieces that they have lost, it wasn't like they were the only pieces there, you know. So I think Michigan kind of got the whole media narrative. You know, that's why they're as low as they are. But Ohio State is getting some love from them losing a lot. And then Penn State continues to fall inside the top 10 for what reason, I don't know. It's kind of sad. Hopefully they'll be able to solidify being the 3rd or 4th best team in that conference with Oregon. And who else is coming in the conference with Oregon?
Washington, UCLA, and USC.
Yeah. So like you got those 4 powers of the old pack coming to that conference. Hopefully you can beat those guys out and kind of solidify yourself as the number 3 or number 4 team in the conference, you know, and maintain that. But I mean, Penn State hasn't. I mean, who's the last big game that 2022 or 21? Was that Ohio State when they beat?
It's a good one. We were just actually having this conversation on SEC Connect about James Franklin in the last big game he won. And we were the conversation we had was James Franklin and Lane Kiffin. Like, what do you do in big games? Right. And like, we were trying to figure out the biggest game that they had won. And so Penn State's, I think that the reason they get so much love, Coach, is because they returned Drew Allar. And listen, I'm not saying that that's why I would put them there. I'm just saying, I think that's why they get so much love, right?
Yeah. Hey, shout out to I got Darius coming in with the white flag up off rip. I feel you, my boy. Hey, I'm not up for no debates and drama today either, for real, man. I'm just enjoying college football off season. I'm looking at our players. You know, they a lot of them have really taken some decompression time. I saw after the game, Kobe, Ryan Williams, Caleb Odom, a couple of them guys, they was out on the boat, man, enjoying themselves, having a good time after a few days after A-Day. So it was pretty cool seeing that. But y'all just, man, I'm in the space right now, y'all. It's strictly making connections, man. I was looking at the lineup of players that we should be able to do a day in the life of, you know, and feature some of those segments, you know, pieces of those segments on this channel. And listen to this lineup, man. These are guys that are definitely interested. And shout out to Chance Fawcett for being a member for 3 months here, being a fan funder. Appreciate you, my boy. Really, really appreciate all the support from everybody in the chat. But this is the lineup, and I'm looking at my whiteboard here. We got Noah Carter, we got Aiden Kane, we got T.I. Mims, we got Luke Metz, we got Jaden Harmon and Miles Johnson on the roster already. For guys that, you know, I plan on traveling, hitting the road, because they're all in the local area. You know, they're in the state of Georgia, Alabama. Noah will be on campus, I think, at the end of May, early June time frame. And then you got some quiet guys like Miles Johnson. You know, Miles Johnson hasn't been in the media a lot. Isn't probably going to. This is probably, you know, some of the biggest exposure that he's going to receive or type of attention. And it's well deserved, you know. And then we got some more guys down in Russell County, Phoenix City, from my hometown. I'll be doing some special features for stuff like that. You know, getting into the full bag of content creation when it comes to covering college football recruiting and just getting the inside move. So I hope y'all stick around for that all summer, all off season. We're going to be, you know, action packed, putting a lot of content out between, you know, Bama football on YouTube, Around the Table Sports, Coach Smoot Network, all of those different channels, Jants Sports, all of these channels, man. Just be on the lookout and just remember where we started. Remember where it really came together at, you know. and just enjoy it, man. It's going to be a lot of coverage. Like, I know, Ty, man, I know you got a lot going on your side too, but those round tables, man, they really are informative and entertaining. Kind of make me miss that old style that we came from, with having 4 or 5 on the panel and getting into those real football discussions during the segment. So, can't wait to see all of that start to make its way back into the forefront while the off season is here.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. And while I have you here, an interesting list came out just 8 minutes ago. Top 25 college football coaches per On3. Just dropped.
You got a link for it?
I'll send it
It's
to you
on
right
Twitter?
now. Yep, I'll send it to you, though. I'll send it in text. Or what would be easier, if I send it to you via Twitter or text?
Twitter.
Gotcha.
Because I could just screenshot it on the back office, on the back side.
This is going to excite Bama fans.
Mm-hmm.
So at number 1, you got Kirby. You're not going to hear a peep from me on that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, listen, I know that there are people in here that, they don't like Georgia. I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. If you're asking me top college football coaches, Kirby would be the first one out of my mouth.
100%. And
Kirby's Kirby.
Shouldn't be no argument. Honestly, you look at now. What I will say is this, though, Ty. You talking about just overall coach, right? You're not talking about schematics, just coach. The guy that no matter what you're dealing with, where you looking at, he gonna make you think about playing for him. That's Kirby Smart. Number one, yeah, no questions asked. No questions asked.
No, Ryan, they had. He said, I'm guessing Kirby too. Kirby was 1. And I'd put Kirby at 1, right? Like, there's no doubt about that. Number 2, you have Brian Kelly. Number 3, Kalen DeBoer. Number 4, Ryan Day. Number 5, Steve Sarkisian. Number 6, Dabo. At 7, Mike Norvell. At 8, one of my favorite coaches in the nation, ladies and gentlemen. And actually, Smook, I'd be kind of happy if Curtis Perry transferred to Utah to play under Kyle Whittingham in the Big 12, because, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Whittingham is one of the most underrated coaches in the nation. KJ says Brian Kelly over Sark. Well, if KJ, would you then put DeBoer over Brian Kelly? Because you can't put Sark over DeBoer. Sark has had the more talented team twice and gotten beat twice against DeBoer.
Right. And
maybe he said that and I just missed it.
And Sark hasn't closed out the Big 12. I mean, outright yet. You get what I'm saying? Like, it took Oklahoma losing a game that they weren't supposed to lose for them, because what did Texas do? They almost dropped. They dropped the bag against Oklahoma, and they had the more talented team.
Well, I hear you, KJ, but that's not my question. My question is, would you then put Kalen DeBoer over Brian Kelly? Because if your argument is Steve Sarkisian should go over Brian Kelly, then wouldn't it stand to reason that Kalen DeBoer would actually be number 2 because they played each other twice? Sark has had the more talented team both times, and he's lost both times. Okay, I didn't see. No, I was just making sure we're all on the same page. Then I agree with you. I actually do agree with you, KJ. You and I are in lockstep. I was just making sure that I was reading. Okay, that's my fault. I didn't see your comment, man. Sometimes the undefeated is undefeated, and comments go crazy. So I was just making sure I was understanding. That's my fault. Kyle Whittingham at 8, and I understand, like, it's one of those things, like, who are you going to put him over?
Right.
I'm just really biased to Kyle Whittingham, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's a hell of a coach. I really think he's a hell of a coach. I would put DeBoer at 2.
I don't not yet. I want to see him do it in the SEC. If he could come in the SEC and get to the playoffs and make, not even if he could win the SEC this year, right? He goes up to number 2. If he gets to the playoffs and is playing for a national championship for a second year in a row under at a new program in his first year, he's going to number 1. He goes above Kirby, and that's you. If he goes to the national championship this year, Kyle, Ty.
Not all white people look alike, except Kyle and I look alike.
keep-
That's a terrible.
I'm looking at Kalen. I'm looking at Kirby. I'm talking to Ty. So the Kais and all of that's coming together. But but if Caleb DeBoer goes into this year, and I mean, even if he runs the table and falls one game short again, man, you have to start feeling. You feel more confident about him taking over college football than when Kirby came in, because there's nobody that's outright locking down college football right now. Kirby wasn't even playing for the national championship last year. Jim Harbaugh and Kalen DeBoer were. And the coach that kept Kirby from going to the playoffs is retired now. You know, and we haven't seen them play against a fully notched team since that loss. They went against Mike Norvell and a team of walk-ons in a bowl game. So I
can answer this.
I think Kalen DeBoer makes a real good case to be right there where he's at. You know, I like where he is right now, but this year, imagine that 12-0 playoff push. You know, national championship. If he wins a national championship, he's number one, bro. I'm just saying.
So I can answer this, Jermaine. Fake Southern accents. That's what he does better. Fake Southern accents, right?
That's about it. Because he's not recruiting better than them.
And what a fake Southern accent it was. Beautiful.
Oh, he gave that junk up quick. That might have been last off season.
Darius says, and this is, I wanted to talk about this, Darius. This is one that I think, I'm actually surprised I haven't seen more pushback from the undefeated on this. Saying Dabo Swinney has 2 national championships and 4 national championship appearances, and he's under Ryan Day, Steve Sarkisian. Now, Darius, the only reason why I'm not saying a peep about it, it's because Dabo's refusal to adapt to the current landscape of college football has been his undoing.
That's been his diminishing. That's what Coach Saban, that's why I feel like played a part in Coach Saban retiring. When he talk about legacy and how you want to leave the game, Coach Saban has always told us the moment he feels like he's not affecting the game for better, he's not affecting change for these young men to create more value for them, to help them get to the next level in life and still able to win, coach winning football, that's when he'll bow out. And we saw signs of that this past season. How much he had to manage the game, how much he had to manage coaches, how much he had to manage personnel, how much he had to manage recruiting. Like, it became a lot. It became a lot. And it wasn't as effective as it was 6-7 years ago, right before it started changing drastically like it is now. So that's what's happened with Dabo. And now you start to see where he's figuring that out now. He's just not getting that message. Like, it's time for me to change. Slowly but surely.
Yeah, I that's the only reason whenever I look at this list why I'm not mad about Dabo. Right? It's because his refusal to change has been his undoing, and life is about change. Certainly, college football is about change, right? Yep. So, interesting list. Kleiman at 16.
Yeah,
he's a heck of a coach, man. I'd put him over Gundy.
I put him over Franklin. Ooh. I mean, James Franklin at 13 is not. I'm not feeling James Franklin. I think James Franklin is more deserving of maybe 19, where Kirk is right in front of Kirk. Luke Fickell, I feel like, is a better coach. Josh Heupel is a better coach to me. Chris Kleiman, Jamie at Liberty. Really like we see what, man. I love. Let me tell you, my first team that I had to play with in my NCAA online dynasty, I got assigned to rebuild K-State, right? And because I thought it was going to be the roster that Kleiman was coming into last season with, I really thought I had something going. But this dynasty had already been in, active for like 7 seasons. So I was working with a bunch of guys I didn't even know who was on there, but definitely had that rebuild. That was a crazy rebuild. But Chris Kleiman is one of those guys. He's respected across, college football, the landscape as a whole. But he can coach, man. He can coach. He doesn't have much to work with. He's not filled with 4 stars and 5 stars, but those guys compete year in and year out. Since they've been under, the culture is even different under him. So I like what he's doing out there. He to me should be ahead of James Franklin.
I don't disagree with you on that at all. You know who? Before I get out of here, the name that I really like, and I wouldn't argue if someone's like he's too high. I'm not. Now the Brian Russell just made.
What happened?
I have no idea what's going. Guys, in the undefeated, we keep it football. All right.
Hold on. What happened?
He said.
I find it.
Okay.
Now that Brian Russell just made difference. Oh, yeah. Chill out. In the chat. Let's get that off the screen. Yeah, chill out in the chat, man. Hey,
Yeah,
Brian, I know you're a fan funder and all that, but come on, dog. Keep it football, keep it respectful. We get roast sessions in here and all that stuff, but we don't cross those lines. We don't cross those lines, man. And it's good to have family in here. You know what I'm saying, and be able to joke like that, but that's something you don't want to play with, man. But yeah, we good. Yeah. We good, y'all. We good. We back to the show. Keep it football, y'all.
You guys want to
keep it football.
You guys want to trash talk about football? That's all good, right? That's all good. But keep it 100% football, and it's all love after that, right? It's all love after that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you before I get out of your hair who intrigues me on this list. Mm-hmm. Lance Leipold at Kansas, because he has done a hell of a job. He has done a hell of a job. Now, is he too high? Maybe, but he's done a heck of a job.
I do. Does the Texas game last year, does that give him a lot of this hype right here? You think that's what that was? That the way they competed in that Texas game? I mean, it's been years building up, but I know for a fact with what they had to work with last year and the way that they competed in that not only in that game but that conference that year, how many close games and you could just tell if they had one athlete or one offensive tackle that could actually, give them some time, or a guard, if they had one guy, they would be a real competitor. But I mean, what's your thoughts on it? Because I like them. I don't like them at 12. Definitely top 25. Don't like them at 12. Maybe let me see. Because we're moving James Franklin and Lance. I think Lance could go like at 15. Maybe right behind Gundy. Right under.
I'd put him over Gundy. Maybe that's just me. I'd put him over Gundy.
Yeah, I know you don't like. I like Gundy. I'm not gonna lie. I like Gundy. I like Gundy. Everybody hates him. He my type of coach, man. And he kind of reminds me a lot of rest in peace. He was just at Mississippi State. One of
the Pirate, Mike Leach.
Yeah, Mike Leach. That's who he kind of reminds me of, with not necessarily his personality, but I'm who I am. I'm not changing. So I kind of like that about Mike Gundy. And kids go to Oklahoma State to play for Gundy. They don't go to Oklahoma State for Oklahoma State. So
true. And Brian, that's why we said everybody, man, because it's hard for us as streamers to be on here talking, having conversations, and trying to scroll through chat to find exactly where it all started. Because then we just have this awkward pause up to 5 minutes as we're sitting here just staring at a screen trying to figure out what happened. And so that's why we're not coming at anybody. We're just saying, hey, everybody chill out. That goes for JT. That goes for everybody, right? That wasn't directed at any one person. That was directed at everybody. Let's keep it respectful. Let's keep it football.
I said everybody, and I said Brian, only because Brian's been here a little bit. I've seen Brian in here longer, so I expect him to be able to conduct himself as a seasoned member of the undefeated. Amen. And as seasoned members of the undefeated, sometimes, like myself, you must bite your tongue and be passive. So it was no disrespect. It was more so of I expect better because you know better, right? And that should be nothing wrong with that. That's like when a coach gets onto a player, for making a mistake. It's not because he's mad at you or whatever, he expect you to do better. If the coach ain't getting onto you, that's a bad thing. So I hope you didn't take no disrespect to that. I'm just saying, y'all, it is what it is. We want to keep it college football. We want to keep the vibes here. So I promote positivity, and authenticity. And authenticity above everything is going to last. So yeah, man. But yeah, I don't like this list 100%. Ty, I'm looking at it now. I don't like it. Mike Norville's too high for me. James Franklin's too high for me. Eli Drinkwitz is not high enough. Shoot. And they talking about on 3. They're talking about right now in the game. So those are probably the only ones I can't get with, you know. And I think James Franklin is top 25, just not top 15. And like I said, Eli Drinkwitz, to me, of all these people, he should be right there where Ole Miss, where Lane Kiffin, Dan Lanning, and Lincoln Riley are. Like, similar situations of what they inherited as far as talent. I mean, I think Eli Drinkwitz isn't getting no love either. So,
before I get out of here, Chance and Darius, you guys exactly pointed out why I just bucked my head back, because I looked at Kirk Ferentz at 19. My brother in Christ, you can have a defense all you want, but football is multifaceted.
Where are the points?
And that has been terrible. I can't have you top 20. And that's not to say you're not a great coach, but you can't score. I can't have you top 20, man. I just can't. Can't do it. Ladies and gentlemen of the Undefeated, it's been an absolute pleasure being with you here today. Coach Smook, been a great time sitting here chopping it up with you. I'll be back on tomorrow to talk about all of the intrigue happening not only around the college football transfer portal, around Alabama, and around college football. Until then, roll tide. Coach, have a great segment as always, man. Kill it. I know you're going to do a great one.
Yes, sir, my boy. Appreciate you, Ty, my guy. Always keeping it fly. What's up, Undefeated, man? Let's crank it up a little bit. Y'all know how we do. Shout out to my guy, Ty Hayes, man, coming through, doing what he do, man. I'm telling y'all, man, I listen to my boy, and I don't even have to be in front of the screen to, you know, kind of feel where he's heading with things. We got that chemistry, man. I'm telling y'all. But check this out, y'all. Let's get the shout outs going, man. Let's run it down. And then we're gonna get what we're gonna get. What we gotta talk about today? We got the Heisman reinstatement for Reggie Bush. We got Juju Lewis news. You know what I'm saying? We got some got a few more roster changes possibly coming. You know, some buzz that I'm hearing about. Maybe some guys entering the portal. Y'all know I don't do portal drama, but this to me isn't drama. It's more so of opportunities being created. So let's get into it, y'all. I see I got a troll in here early, Smook bad about Twitter. Here we go. What's up with everybody? Cynthia Middleton in the chat. My guy Jimmy in the chat. Jordan, you already know when I start talking about certain stuff, it's because I know what I'm talking about, man. You know what I'm saying? Nicole in the chat, my sister, representing. We holding it down for the light skins, you know. Ebony in the chat. Yes, ma'am. Who else we got? Antoine in that mug. Let's go, baby. Ebony in this thing. You know what I'm saying? Who else in here? JT83. Who else in here? Darius in here. Darius, our resident closet Bama fan, is in the house. He said he ain't trying to talk no trash day. He talking straight football. I like them vibes. Kill Tac 9 in there. I want to get your opinion on the leaked 80-team Super League. Ooh, Kill Tac. I seen that in a little group chat. I wasn't even going to talk about it, but I'm hearing some stuff. My guy. I'm hearing some stuff. Shane B in the chat. Megan in the chat. How y'all feeling? We're going to get it done. Dwayne. Yes, we are. Repping for the chocolates, Ebony. Yes, chocolates. That's my sister. She said she repping for the chocolates. What y'all represent for? I got some macadamians in the chat. Where the macadamians at? My boy Chance in the chat, man. Mr. Popo. Patriot Life. Exactly, Patriot Life. Patriot Life. Don't worry about it, man. It's all good, bro. It's all good. Let the people do what they do. We're just gonna ignore it. If they can't chill out, we're gonna handle it. You know what I'm saying? My guy Steven in the chat. Do you know if Coach KD gave that senior walk-on a DBA scholarship? You talking about Elijah May? I don't know, man. I don't know. But it would be cool to see that happen at the beginning of the season. What's up, Tay? How you feeling, famo? How you feeling? Elijah, A-A-L-I-J-H. I think that's who we talking about. Smook. I said this earlier. When you come to Saraland, we need to do our famous buffet country cooking. Ooh, Cynthia. You know how to talk to my heart, baby. Through my stomach. You know what I'm saying? You know how to get to my heart? It's through my stomach. You know what I'm saying? You put some food in there and it tastes good. Oh my Jesus Christ. I'm telling y'all, when I come down to Mobile, man, it's a lot of y'all in Mobile. When I come down for that Friday Night Light segment, I'm telling y'all, I'm leaking up. We're gonna be outside. Y'all know how I do. I know how I do when it's time to get outside. Hey, my boy Kill Tech said he repping the sauce. Oh, Kill Tech, you a fool, man. Let's talk about the Super League. College football will be it. Hey, Dad, we'll talk about it later, man. You can't force no conversation. We got other things to talk about. We want to enjoy college football for what it is right now. You feel me? David, don't jump too far ahead, man. Just slow down and enjoy what's in front of you right now. What's in front of you right now? We won't have a Super League tomorrow. That mug ain't gonna be for another 4 or 5 years. So let's enjoy college football for what it is today, right? Glad to see you too, my boy Ruben. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate you, my boy. Davin. Theodore in the house. Dwayne. Dwayne, what you know about Theodore? If you talking about the same Theodore I'm talking about, are we talking about the Theodore I know? Roll Tide, my guy Zachary. Appreciate y'all for hanging out, man. Listen, let's get this commercial. Let's show some love to our sponsors, man. I appreciate everybody for tapping in, running up the comments. Make sure you run the likes up on the live. You know, this is the last segment of the day session. So go ahead and run the likes up. Make sure your voice is heard simply by just running up a like. It's for free. And of course, you know how we do. We show some love to our sponsors. We sit here. We got residency in Ocean City, Maryland. Appreciate them for showing love to us. Then we also have rogueshop.com, promo code Bama. Use them, get your discounts. And then you got Demetrius Maynard. But here goes the commercial. Your favorite part of my segment, the commercial. Take it away, Kyle.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Residence in Ocean City, Maryland. Guests can book at residenceinOC.com. Use the promo code LPR for special Bama football pricing up to 20% off. Also, go to therogueshop.com. Use the promo code Bama. You get legal CBD. For me, personally, I like the topical oil. You know how intense my workouts are, right? So I like the topical oil. I like to rub that on my back, whatever, after those cinder blocks. So go to their website, cruise down, look through their website, and definitely check out rogueshop.com. And like I said, I like the topical. Again, the promo code is BAMA. Also, think about becoming a fan funder right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Become a part of the Undefeated as low as $2.99 a month. That's 10 cents a day. How do you do this? Make sure you're logged into your account. This is on a computer. You can also do this on your phone and look for the tab that says membership. Once you click membership, you can see different options. You can see an upgrade button right there to the right if you want to go through the different levels. We have fan funder videos from the staff right here at Bama Football on YouTube. Very easy to navigate. Let us know if you have questions inside the comment box when trying to upgrade or renew your fan funder membership right here on Bama Football on YouTube. And of course, if you want to rock that undefeated gear, check out our merch store located at the bottom of the videos. We appreciate Patriot Life, Cynthia, Antoine, Caitlin, and to everybody else that supports us right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Special thanks to our sponsor, Residence in Ocean City, Maryland. Guests can book at residenceinOC.com.
I ain't gonna lie, I was gonna run it back because I wanted to get. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm in a very silly mood today. I was gonna run it back so I could get y'all comments. I'm gonna clip it. I'm gonna make a nice clip, y'all. And like I said, I want to get some videos up on the channel. We're gonna make it a little bit more fun too, man. I don't know if Kyle is gonna push it like I want to, but all right, y'all. I just got a text. Recruiting heating up, man. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about recruiting. I know if people want to hear about what Juju Lewis is, what's the news on Juju. So I don't know if y'all saw the article or the interview that Juju was doing, and he was kind of alluding to the fact that he wasn't feeling like Georgia was in the mix anymore. With him being a Georgia in-state kid, the University of Georgia not having access or him not, showing that serious interest in him, possibly not taking that visit. I think it was set for the end of May. His official was set for the end of May. I'm not sure. Maybe it was July. I can't remember. But the fact that, you know, he's opening up about, you know, pulling away from a lot of these teams that's recruiting him and still showing that obvious interest in Alabama, that gives me a lot of confidence, man. Like I said, I believe he's going to be a guy that we go after. As you all know, we just offered. Let me go and look at the post. I just retweeted it. As a matter of fact, I'll pull it up on my Twitter. Let me see. I thought I retweeted it. Hold on. All right. Yep, I did. So why is it not showing up over here? All right, let me go look at it. I swear I just posted it, but it's not showing up. So as you all see, and I'm going to give y'all a screenshot alert. Here we go. I'm going to bring it up on the screen. I just spoke with this young man recently last week. It was pretty cool talking to him. Let me get into this. As y'all can see, we just offered this young man, Keelan Dot Russell says, wow, all glory to God, truly blessed to have received an offer from the University of Alabama. He tags all the coaches, fire. But this is the number 1 rated QB in the state of Texas in the class of 25, I believe. Yeah, class of 25. He's number 1 rated quarterback in the class of 25. So that goes to show you that this staff is not necessarily chasing guys like Juju, right? But they're making it known that we are looking for guys that fit our system. Whether you're the number 1 quarterback or number 10 quarterback, number 20 quarterback, if you fit our system, we're gonna really seriously give you a look, as we should, right? That's what we should be doing when we're recruiting anyways. We shouldn't be out here just going for names, chasing names. We should be out here looking for what fits, right? So it's pretty cool. Let me get back to this. I don't know what was going on right there, but that was pretty cool. But yeah, look at Smook hats. What about my hat? What about my hat? What I do? Number 1, do it through it in the country. That's what I'm saying. So Juju, to me, Juju is not necessarily a priority. You look at his talent and you look what he can do. Yes, I like it. I love it. But if he's being indecisive, there's other guys out there that fit the system. Go after him, coach. And that's what Coach Kalen DeBoer is doing. Do we sign more than 1 quarterback in this 25 class? You never know. I think there's always going to be you always have to keep recruiting regardless of what's on the roster. You never know what these kids do now with all the transfer rules, being able to be immediately eligible. I think that's crazy, but you know, when you're able to recruit like Kalen DeBoer and his staff are doing, it kind of mitigates that, kind of evens everything out, so you don't lose the competitive edge in recruiting or what you have on roster as far as development. Right? That Block A logo, y'all loving it? Y'all liking that mug? That mug fire, ain't it? Tell the truth. That thing fire. What y'all think? What y'all think about the what if the Block A logo comes on the helmet this season? What if they unveil it? Like I've been hearing these rumors. What if they unveil it and we got the Block A logo on the helmets, y'all? How many of y'all are like that? And I'm a traditionalist. Before everybody started jumping down and beat me up for saying I'm with it, I'm a traditionalist. I would love that Block A logo on that helmet, though. You keep the same get up, just instead of the numbers on both sides, you get the Block A on one side. Oh, my Lord. Block A always been gold at 100. Yeah. Oh, Jordan. I already know. Him, man, listen. Him and that squad, bro. I'm a track kid, too. I think they ran a 48. What it was, a 48 4x1 or something like that? Or 44, something like that. 44.9, something like that. They basically ran an Olympic qual time for their 4x1. They 4x1 team ran an Olympic qual time. Them boys be moving, man. Them boys be moving. These haters are going to melt down if Bama wins it all. Oh, hyperactive coming through with the boing, yoing, yoing. You know what I'm saying? That's what make them mad. When you hit them with that boing, yoing, yoing pause, I'm going to hit them with the boing, yoing. But you know what? The reason I call it boing, yoing, yoing, because people's minds can't grasp the fact that Alabama is still going to be good. Like that bothers the college football nation so much. Alabama has lost the greatest coach of all time, and they're still going to be good. Boing, boing, boing. You know what I'm saying? We'd like to see the white helmets before the block A, but that'd be cool too. You want the white helmets? My thing is, what style are these helmets going to like? The old white helmets was ugly. I liked them as a fan, but you look at them now, what type of drip? I want the boys still looking classic. You know what I'm saying? Looking good. I'm not a big white helmet fan anyways. You know, now if we do like a color rush with the white helmets, all white, now give me something. Now talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Now talk to me. Them fools thought we were about to turn into a 6-6 team real quick. I don't know why, Antoine, and that's what I question about a lot of college football fans. Like, do y'all actually go and look at rosters, look at talent? Do like, whoa, what? I'm saying, like, yeah. So the Juju Lewis hype, you know, we kind of getting off of it. Would love to have the young man. Like I said, to me, the most gifted quarterback in this class, the most gifted quarterback. But when you got guys like Keelan Russell getting offers from Alabama, you see what this staff is about. And go look at Keelan's film. The young man has a high ceiling. I think he comes in and is able to challenge year two legit challenge. And that's if we have an Austin Mack on the roster. That's if Dylan Lonergan is still on the roster. You get what I'm saying? So, speaking of if players are still on the roster, speaking of, let's talk about it. What are we suspecting from this Alabama roster? Who are we suspecting to enter the portal? And then we'll talk about, I forget what the star comment was for today. I didn't get the comment of the commercial because y'all had me laughing too hard again, bro. Y'all be doing too much. The legal CBD Moonrocker did get it again. Yeah, Davin Jones, I got your comment, so stick around, bro. We're gonna spend about 5 minutes on this segment, and then we're gonna get into that talk about the super college football, the super league. We're gonna talk about it. And if you could, man, give me a reference link for where you heard, because I just seen some like inbox chatter. You know, I just seen a lot of inbox chatter, nothing serious. I know Chris of Way Offsides, Chris of the Bama Network, team of content creators that cover Bama football, writers, podcasters. He had a nice article about what this thing, and Rick Morton too had a nice article about how college football was changing. So I'll provide them links on my Twitter sometime today. You know, y'all pull up. But more portal exits. As you saw, Curtis Perry, he entered the portal. Let me see if I could pull a screenshot of his statement to Bama Nation. Here it is. And I'm gonna put it up. And this is the way you do it. This is the way you do it when you leave in an organization that has really put you in a spot to be successful, and you're appreciative, and you know you're making this move because it makes sense, right? And let me adjust this because I think we might do a cut from this. I want to talk about this. This is one of those conversations that could become controversial for the fan base, and y'all know I'm all about ruffling some feathers. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about ruffling some feathers, baby. That's what I do. I ruffle feathers, baby. Ruffle them all up. Get people all hot and bothered, you know, by saying the stuff that they want to say, but they're scared to say it. I'm not scared, you know. I'm all about doing all of that, you know. So yeah, let's get into it. Shout out to my boy Curtis Perry, man. Somebody I had high hopes for. Hoping that he would stick around and you know, fight for his time. But that defensive line room is extremely talented, and talented with depth. So if you're not in that first 9 to 11 man rotation, and you're not a true freshman, it's probably best you might find an opportunity somewhere else, because Curtis Perry is going to go anywhere right now and possibly be make a strong case to be a starter. No matter what the scheme is, where he plays at on the D line, he could play your true 1. He could play a 2. You know, he could play your 4 or the 5 technique, like as a big end. So you look at him and says, after spending some time at the University of Alabama, playing for Coach Saban and alongside my incredible teammates, I made the difficult decision to enter the listen to this, y'all. Difficult decision to enter the transfer portal. My time at Alabama has been an unforgettable journey filled with growth, challenges, and countless memories that I will cherish forever. I am forever thankful and blessed to have had the opportunity to wear the crimson and white, representing not just a team, but a passionate fan base and a tradition of excellence. This young man is trying to make a case to be the most loved transfer player ever. While my time at Alabama has been nothing short of amazing, I believe that exploring new opportunities through the transfer portal is the next step in my journey as a student athlete. This decision wasn't made lightly. It's a step towards achieving my ultimate goals and aspirations of football. I'm excited about the prospect of finding a new program where I can continue to develop as a player and contribute to a new team's success. However, leaving Alabama doesn't mean severing ties with Bama Nation. The support I've received from fans, alumni, and the entire community has been incredible, and I'll carry that with me wherever I go. My love for Alabama and its football program will endure forever, and I'll always be grateful for the opportunities and experiences I've had as a member of the Crimson Tide family. Very well said, very well versed. I appreciate Curtis Perry for his time. And you know, let's talk about it. Curtis Perry in the portal was, you know, to me, it was a action waiting to happen. We literally just talked about yesterday about the amount of scholarships that we have, amount of scholarship players that we currently have on roster. The count was 86. Today is down to 85 of scholarship players on roster. And knowing that we need to fill some voids in the defensive back room and also at the offensive tackle position, I think that we might see one or two more defensive guys hit the portal for reasons just as Curtis Perry said. At this point in stage of his career, he needs to be on the field somewhere. And if that doesn't mean he's not good enough to do it here at Alabama. It's just right now there are other people who are displaying the qualities that this coaching staff deems needed to be seen in this phase of their development and transition to where, you know, I'm pretty sure Curtis Perry had a very extensive talk with this current staff when they first came in. He also let him know of his aspirations. And, you know, I feel like he did a great job during spring. You know, he was one of the guys that we talked about that I saw was out there making plays, that was being, you know, showing the energy. So you look at his decision and it makes sense. It's not chasing a bag. You know, he wasn't a starter last year. This young man was rotational, but with a rotational player with starter, you know, skill sets, with starter productivity. So yes, more power to Curtis Perry. Now, some of the names that I'm hearing, there are two more defensive players. You all know that I've been I've been an advocate of someone like Keon Keeley, who's just not doing a great job adapting to what this scheme needs him to do, right? And a talent like his, you can take another year and continue to develop in this scheme while maintaining that natural ability to get to the ball, really get to the quarterback. You know, the strength is there, the size, the speed, the quickness, everything is there. But the technique is what he's lacking, and understanding the reasoning behind certain play calls and certain schemes when it comes to playing that edge and defensive end position. So I would not be surprised to see Keon Keeley make a business decision as far as what he fits schematically and going to the likes of maybe Ohio State, who's a school that was very heavy in his recruiting. And it would make sense because they could use a talent like Keon Keeley. And I wouldn't fault him. That's another young man, stuck it out, went through spring training, tried to give it a real shot, gave it effort, you know, whether it worked out or not, you know, he stuck it out. He didn't stop spring training. He didn't quit. You know, he didn't just leave because it didn't feel good. He fought through it. He showed that he was strong, you know, that he had resiliency, and he tried. He gave an effort. So if he hits the portal, I wouldn't be surprised. And we may see, as much as it may not seem like it, we may see one offensive lineman, maybe one younger guy hit the portal across that offensive line. And like I said, it's due to being talented and wanting to be on the field right now. So do you jump at that opportunity this early in your career? In this day and age, it's becoming the thing to do because it's allowed. So I don't fault most of these players that stuck through the Saban transition, went through spring, competed. I don't fault any of them for possibly leaving if they're not in that main rotation of the plan going forward. Now, is there guys that you hope stick around and continue to develop because you see that, they're one play away from getting the opportunity? Yes, absolutely, yes. And there were rumors that Richard Young was possibly going to enter the portal, and Colorado was a big game, a big player in that whole ordeal. I'm not hearing that. I heard some things early on in spring, but I don't see that. With the way that Kalen DeBoer and this staff are structuring this offense, I think this year will be an opportunity for all the running backs to create value for themselves, because believe it or not, I don't think we're going to throw the ball more than 35 times a game. I think we're going to run the ball 20 plus times, 25 times a game, and each back is going to get, lead back might get 15 carries. The quarterback is going to be involved in the run game heavily this year. So because of that and the skill sets that that Milroe possesses right now, being the starter, I think we'll see a lot more of the run game. So I don't see Richard Young hitting it. I think he'll get plenty of opportunities. I haven't heard much about any skills positions players hitting the portal. Now, portal entries. Let's talk about portal entries. There has been some real buzz about Ed Wood. Not even waiting for his visit to Bama. He's set to visit Alabama tomorrow, right? Let me change this. Ed Woods is set to visit Alabama tomorrow. Let me set this up here. Tomorrow is Thursday. He'll be here tomorrow. A lot of people are buzzing. People that are closer to the camp, closer to the situation. I'm not a portal guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the insider for that. You get what I'm saying? But a lot of people that are, relaying information in the circles that I run in, they're saying that this young man is excited to come to Bama. And yes, they're looking at him. If they bring him in, he's coming over as a safety. What does that do to our secondary room? But also with the scholarship count, what other moves are about to be made? Because like I said, I think we need more corners. I think we need more offensive tackle. At least one more offensive tackle. We got Caden Proctor. Maybe they're counting Caden Proctor as the transfer, the one that they needed to go and get. Maybe that's what they're doing, and they're going to continue to breed that competition between Elijah Pritchett and Aquil Bertrand. Maybe that's what they feel like they've done. They got three guys that they could roll with at some point. I feel like Caden Proctor, like I told y'all, at some point he'll end up eventually being the starter. Maybe not week 1, but he'll end up being the starter if we're still struggling between Bertrand and Pritchett. And shout out to Pritchett's cousin just got offered by Bama yesterday. Smoot making it sound like we're going to be the Rams. What do you mean? Malachi back to Husky? Oh yeah. But with Woods, you already had Sab at free safety, and you had Smitty and you had Red Morgan at Rover Husky. Rover and Husky, though Rover is more of what Red Morgan and Devontae Smith are going to be playing. They're your cover guys. Husky, I think Malachi Moore, that fits his skill set a lot more. He Brayson Hubbard, Sab, and Woodyard, true free safeties, man. Rangy guys play center field, can play one high. I love it. I love it. So, so I gave a few names that I feel like might be hitting the portal, but Edwards is one that I hope comes in. And Tacario Davis, I think that's how you say his name. Taco Davis, I would love to get some interest from him. When I look at his film and look at his makeup, man, he's the guy that I want. I know I was talking about Will Johnson before, but Tacario Davis and Ricardo Hallman, to me, they fit this scheme a lot better. They fit what we want to do at Alabama a lot better. If Will Johnson hits the portal, of course, go get him. I love saying that because it pisses Michigan fans off. Oh my God, y'all should see it on Twitter. They love to come at me about that Will Johnson statement. And boy, Lord Jesus, please, they better pray to God that it don't happen, because Lord have mercy if it do. I promise y'all I'm going to act a fool. I might lose my credentials. I don't know. I might do something crazy. But that's just how we roll. Auntie Janet, how you feeling? Welcome back to the chat. What you doing? You ain't missed much. We just sitting here having some dialogue about Curtis Perry, how he entered the portal very respectably. A player that gave his all while he was here at Bama. Never heard a bad thing about his attitude. Never heard anything about his energy being off. Always supported the team, and he wrote a very eloquent statement here wrote this very eloquent statement to say his goodbyes, said his appreciation for Alabama and what they've done and what he wants to continue to stay connected to as a player, as a former player. And we can't do nothing but show the young man some love, man. So yeah, Auntie, that's about it. And then just a little portal news. Portal is only open for 6 more days. Right. It's crazy because it was open for 30 days with us. It felt like we was in that funk for a minute, right? But yeah, that's the roster changes I see coming. I think we might lose another defensive lineman. And maybe somebody in the secondary. I think we might be losing somebody in the secondary. No running backs. I don't see. Maybe a wide receiver. Maybe we might lose one. I've heard some names in the portal that are interested in coming to Bama, wide receiver wise. But I don't. Like I said, my concerns are at the defensive back position at corner and that tackle position. Like I said, now thinking about it, Proctor coming in was probably the answer to that. So we probably only need maybe 3 more moves in the portal to kind of solidify some things with the roster and the changes. So yeah. Yeah, man, that sucks, Curtis Perry. Yeah, and the thing is, the young man is a great, well-spoken young man. Speak highly of him. Nobody speaks negative on him. Great motor. This is one of those guys, man. You look at the talent, man, and it could be one bad day where you just kind of lose the momentum with the vision of what's happening with the evaluation session, and and it just happens, man. You got a team full of dogs, man. A team full of dogs, the best in the country, and it's a smart decision if you ask me. Veen Holly says, you don't see it, Keely is the man. Hey, trust me, man. Keely can be the dude anywhere. But right now, Bama, he's struggling, man. He's struggling. Go watch the A-Day. He just doesn't look comfortable playing that technique, man. He just doesn't. He just doesn't. Can we really afford to lose? Can we afford to lose more D linemen? Oh yes. Let me read off the D linemen on this roster right now. And I just want you to chill for a second. Let me make sure I adjust this. Hold on. Can we afford Kill Tack? Can we afford? We playing with house money with the D linemen right now. All right, right now on the roster, we got Jeremiah Beeman, we got Isaiah Fagel, we got Edric Hill, we got Tim Keenan, we got John Latham, Jaheim Otis, Hunter Osborne, LT Overton, Damon Payne, Jordan Renard, James Smith, Tim Smith. That's our D-line. That's our defensive front. That's the rotation. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So before Perry left, that would have made 13. What did I say about this defensive line group? Y'all remember how I kept saying, like, if you're not in that first 9 to 11 man rotation, that you might not be seeing the field. This D-line is going to rotate. Guys are going to get playing. If Curtis Perry fell to like number 12 or 13 in that rotation as a what? A redshirt sophomore, basically a junior, that's not good for his projectile as far as what he's going to be able to do and put on film to start getting ready for the league. So it was a smart decision. You look at the guys that are possibly in front of him, guys that were raving and just going crazy in the A-Day game. James Smith, Tim Smith, Jordan Renard had a crazy game. John Latham, LT Overton, Hunter Osborne, strong guy. Jeremiah Beeman, flashes. Jaheim Otis is still there. Tim Keenan is still there. Tim Smith is still there. Like, this is a stacked room, man. Then you got young Isaiah Fagel, man. That dude, telling y'all, gonna be a game changer. Yeah, so yeah, I think we have room to lose one more. And if I had to guess, if we was to lose another defensive lineman out of that room, it would possibly be maybe a Renard, Jordan Renard, or Edric Hill. It will possibly be one of them. Only reason I'm saying this is because you look at them, they're one and the same as far as what they do for the team. You can lose one and not miss them because you literally have the same type of player on the other side. And it's not a bad thing. You lose one of them and they go to school, they're going to be a starter. Like, a lot of these guys will be starters wherever they go, right? That's how I feel about it. So, to end the segment for today, man, let's talk undefeated. Let's talk about the Heisman Trophy. Let's talk about Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush getting his love. Let's talk about Reggie Bush getting his love, man. How many of y'all are excited and happy for Reggie Bush getting his flowers back, man? Him getting reinstated into the Heisman the Heisman Hall of Fame, all of that stuff. I think it's a good day in college football when things like that are happening amidst of all the wrongdoing. Like, I never thought that young man should have had it taken away. You know, whatever was being done for him when he was on that roster, that's out of his control. He was a 19-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid. So we loaded with top quality players. The second greatest team of all time is the 2005 USC Trojans. I don't know, Darius. Who's the first greatest team of all time? In your era. In my era, I couldn't put USC there. I got a Miami team, an 01 Miami team that'll be number 2 on mine. And I'm biased. I think the 2011 Bama national championship team was probably one of the best teams of all time. That same 05 team went and lost to Texas. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. To Vince Young and them Longhorns. 2020 Bama? Nah, Shane, you tripping. 2020 Bama? Nah, you tripping, man. But Reggie Bush getting the Heisman back is huge for him, man. I mean, huge for college football too, man. It shows you that, you know, there's still some tradition, some respect for the game. I think Reggie Bush, you know, got caught up in the wrong era. You look at Reggie Bush nowadays. I mean, he's the same as everybody else. In that time, it wasn't a thing for him to be who he was. But now, you got so many Reggie Bushes running around. It's like he would have never. It never would have batted an eye at him in today's day and age. So, you know, more power to Reggie, right? More power to Reggie. Glad for him. I don't got much to say on it. I respect Reggie Bush overall as a player, as a man. I rock with Reggie Bush. So it's good to see some positive things happening for Reggie. And what else we talked about? What else we had to talk about? Oh, comment of the day. Here we go. Topic of discussion to close it out, y'all. And I want everybody's feedback on this. Here it is. Here we go. Davin Jones said, let's talk about the Super League. College football will be NFL Junior soon. Killtag 9 also came through with the same sentiments. Smook, I want to get your opinion on the Elite 80 Team Super League. So this is what I've been trying to tell y'all for probably since all this Saban on Capitol Hill noise and all of that. What Coach Saban was trying to keep together, and this team that he's putting together, what they're trying to keep together is college football is meant to help student athletes create value for themselves so that they can become professionals, right? Now, me personally, I'm a firm believer in, if I'm going to school to be a football player, I need to be doing things that help me be a professional football player. I need to be taking classes that's going to help me be a professional football player, right? Meaning, if I need to know about accounting, financing, all that stuff, how to have an agent, I mean, learn legalities of contract. Like, that's the type of college an athlete should be. That's the type of stuff a college athlete should be doing. You get what I'm saying? And of course, league choice is open, majors, all of that. But somewhere along the line, there should be some type of structure to keep this Super League stuff from happening. Now, you're talking about, and we talked about this yesterday, we're talking about free agency with no restraints, right? That's already happening. You're talking about guys being able to literally leave on a Thursday, sign with a school on Friday, and be eligible for practice on that Monday. Like, that's what we're seeing happening. Now you added money into it. You're telling young men that, hey, come to my school, I'm gonna give you $60,000 up front. Give them $60,000. They get there, they say, man, I don't like it here. They out, and you can't get none of your money back. That's what we're turning into. And people think that that's going to be good for college football. So now you talk about this Super League where they're going to do 2 major divisions, right? And they're going to, I think, what it was, 17 games a season? You're basically turning them into the NFL without NFL parameters. How do you transition a kid? Now it won't be college football anymore. It, like you said, it'll be Junior Pro League. It'll be the Junior Association, the Junior Professional Football Association. You know, that's what it's going to turn into. And people not going to like it. People are not going to. NFL doesn't put forth near as the numbers as college football does. It's because, and me, myself, Coach Sean, Coach Jay, Ty, we've all been on here and we've had a round table discussion about how the difference between college football and NFL game is. College football, every state has a team. Every state has a representative, whether it's multiple or whether it's one. Every state has a representative. In NFL, you only got, 32 teams, right? It's 50 states. Every state is going to have a college football team. And then your college football teams are usually in town, like in Tuscaloosa. Georgia State, Georgia Tech is here in Atlanta. You see a lot of Georgia State alumni. You see a lot of Georgia Tech fans walking around here. You see a lot of Georgia fans. You know, I think Atlanta and Athens on like an hour and a half away, something like that. You see a lot of Georgia fans around here because it's a state. You know, you see Falcon stuff, you see Brave stuff, but you see a lot. You see more college football than anything because you're more closely connected with it. So, I mean, that's just what it is, y'all. That's just what it is. But the Super League coming, I don't think I'm gonna like it. You know, I mean, it'll be lucrative. It'll be great for the kids to make money and all that, but it just it's bad for business when you talk about development. You know, development in a culture where it's been a waste for so long. At this point, it's not evolving no more, or it's not changing for the better. It's becoming the race for dollars, and that's going to hurt the value of what we've come to love as college football. That's going to hurt the value of what we've known to come as college football. Got to go get ready for work, Smook and chat. Much love, William. A lot of states have more than one team. That's good. Facts, Cynthia. That's one thing about Alabama. You got so many HBCUs and PWIs in the state of Alabama. Like, it's hard to figure out, who you're a fan of. Just recreates old BCS problems. And guess what? That was talk about getting rid of the playoff committee and letting the computer decide the rankings for college football playoffs. Like, literally the system that you hated and left from to create this system, you're trying to incorporate them now? I mean, weird. But that's the day and age we live in, man. That's the day and age we live in. We're a microwave society. We want change. And but we don't want process. We want change, but we don't want process. But that's it for my segment today, y'all. Y'all make it so easy to run through these. Tonight though, we got some reality versus reach. I'm gonna get a lot of polls going in the chat tonight. We're going to discuss some more roster changes, possible roster changes. We're going to talk a little play art. We might get some play art in tonight. A little bit more reaction from A-Day. Start diving into more of what this roster. And every day we'll touch on something with the roster and what it's looking like. Get our feels on it. And but with that being said, y'all, as always, you can check your boy out. At Coach Smook on all platforms. You already know I'm going crazy right now with the content. We got edits popping out. I don't know if y'all went and checked the video out, but if you didn't, you're missing out. That Jason McClellan edit was fire. I've been getting a lot of good reviews, personal phone calls. I told them, don't call me, comment. Leave a comment for your boy. You ain't even got to donate to leave a comment. It's free. So if you watch the video and you think it look good, man, please leave a comment, drop a like, share it for me. Go check it out. It's on my YouTube channel at Coach Smook, Jason McClellan Pro Day highlights. Go check it out. Editing done. It's shot and edited by me. It was my first one ever like that. So y'all check it out. Plan to bring a lot of that to Bama football on YouTube with a lot of the day in the life segments we plan on doing with the players. working on that access, being able to walk around the facility and just interview players, get a day in the life with them, their daily routines, all of that stuff. We really trying to expand. So continue to support the channel and do what you all do. Not everybody's going to do it like us. Not many people are doing it like us. And I take pride in being different. I take pride in standing on business, like they say out there. I take pride in standing on what I believe and pushing authenticity. All right. So Linda said, miss me? Oh, you missed my segment? Where you was, Linda? The schedule for tonight. Let me pull it up. I'm sorry. Let me pull it up. Okay, so tonight I'm back at 7. I'm the only one on tonight. So we really gonna have some fun tonight. Y'all get ready to come in here and act up, because I don't plan on rushing off the scene tonight. Definitely. Well, the Lakers come on tonight. The Lakers play tonight, so I won't be hanging out very long. I definitely am going to see my Lakers play. That is the must. We must do that, right? Must we watch our Lakers? Yes, we must, because we're down 2-0 in the series, and I don't want to talk about it right now. But with that being said, y'all, appreciate y'all for pulling up. Everybody pulling up late. Mary, Curtis pulling up late. Appreciate you for pulling up. Roll Tide. You been at work, Linda? No. You'll get to see me tomorrow. And the draft is tomorrow. So we're going to support our Bama players. Y'all know my favorite Bama player in this year's draft. Number 1 is my boy Jace McClellan. Number 2, Terrion Arnold. Number 3, I'm rocking with my boy J.C. Latham. Number 4, I'm rocking with my boy Kool-Aid. If y'all haven't seen Kool-Aid's little docuseries, Path to the Draft, Path to Pros, or whatever it is, go check it out, man. Go check it out. You get a lot more insight on that Coach Saban retirement. You get a lot more insight on his mentality, his upbringing, all of that. I already kind of knew a lot of it, but to see it breaking down in that production, that was hands down one of the best ones I've seen this far. Him and Terrion, man. I rock with Terrion. Y'all know I've had multiple interactions with Terrion Arnold, both in person and on social media. Great young man. It was funny because, when he dapped me up, man, he was like, I appreciate what you're doing, bro. Keep being real. Like Terrion Arnold told me that, and he's younger than me, but I look up to these guys, the way they conduct themselves in the public eye. So they got their personality, and they're pushing me to continue to develop mine. I interact with a lot of players, y'all, and I don't brag about it to throw it in people's faces, but I thank God for the ability to create relationships, authenticity. It's a big thing for me. Authentic. If you can accept my authentic me, then I'm pretty sure you can appreciate the value that I could bring, with whatever I'm bringing. And that's for anybody I come in contact with. I don't look to take from. I look to give into or pour into. So at the end of the day, the message is, and a message I'm gonna leave y'all with is, not everything's about you. Not every reaction that you provide is for you. Sometimes you're speaking up for multiple people and don't even know it. Sometimes what you're saying is not just for you, it's for somebody else. So be confident in what you do, man. And if you keep a positive energy, if you have pure intentions in what you do, it's always going to last. You're always going to find success. You're always going to find peace. You're always going to find happiness. So with that being said, make sure y'all go follow your boy. Please. Make sure y'all go follow your boy. The Bama content creator himself, Mr. Coach Smook, at Coach Smook on all platforms. And I'm going to leave y'all with a big old. What y'all talking about? Roll Tide. Roll. Y'all be easy, man. I catch y'all on the next one. See y'all tonight at 7 p.m. Much love. Catch y'all on